Did we just talk about this?
We just talked about that. And this is a test of the
Boris messing with his microphone.
Or the emergency broadcast system, because this is what it's going to turn out to be today. We've had some internet issues already this morning.
We have a good signal.
Really?
Quality's good, yep.
That's what Jeff says.
Yeah.
Of course, he's sitting in here and really doesn't. Are you sure?
Yeah. It says good.
Has anybody actually checked to make sure that we're looking good and sounding good?
That's where I'm going now.
Okay.
I'm looking
so
good.
everybody is doing this.
I always look
I'm
good.
not. I'm looking to see who just emailed me or texted me or did whatever they wanted to do.
Always looking good.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we have a very interesting show today on the In Wheel Time program, of which you are tuned into.
Unlike the rest of them.
Well, it depends. When it comes to the 11 o'clock hour, when we're now off the air,
I got you.
we look back and say, well, that wasn't too bad. Or we go, oh, my God, I can't believe that this happened today.
Did Conrad really say that?
Because you have to understand that this is 10 years into this program. 10 years. And you would think that by now we would have it down pat, but no, not us. No, what is it that I'm listening to? Why am I hearing this show back? This is exactly the issue that we have. It's Conrad that's jacking with it over there.
But the whole point of going on as a pre-show to work these bugs out before we actually go worldwide.
We are.
Right, you are worldwide.
We are worldwide.
The one thing that would be nice is whatever camera I'm looking at online is very fuzzy.
Oh, well, you're looking at the Zoom.
Oh, I think that's your eyes.
Oh my God. Well,
The monitors look good.
Mine look great.
yeah, the monitors look good.
Yes, 'cause
There's a good indication that everything's just fine.
I set them up.
So at any rate, kind of a preview, which we'll actually have at the beginning of the show. But we're going to talk to Sue Mead. Gosh, I met Sue Mead 10 years ago. Well, more than that. 20 years ago, probably.
She still talks to you?
Is she still a member of Texas Auto Writers?
Yeah, she was out
Why?
but she's back.
Why is she a member? Why is anybody a member of the Texas Auto Writers Association? Your microphone's not on.
That's on purpose because he didn't want to hear your answer.
Okay, go ahead and say what you got to say.
Because it serves.
Because you're still a sitting member on the board of directors.
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
And
So of course you're going to, like a politician, beat the drum and how
Well,
wonderful
he
it
needs,
is.
No, I'm
he needs
gonna
the
tell you,
revenue.
it
He needs the
does.
revenue stream so he gets paid.
Yeah, I wish I did. No, it does. It serves a very good purpose.
Well, what purpose
it's
is
not
that?
It's not set up really to serve that much of a purpose for somebody like you that's been in the business for 50, 60, 80 years, however long it's been. But what it does, it takes the
Tell me, Conrad,
shuts you
how's it going? How was your week this week?
My week was good. A little
See,
cold,
when
little
you get
chilly.
into those 60 and 70 year
80,
comments now,
300.
so the 80 was okay.
the 80 was okay.
Well, Don can relate to the 80.
My question, Mike, when you were president of the Texas Auto Writers Association,
Yes, sir.
did you sign any executive orders or anything?
Nobody killed a lot of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
So it
your
serves-
sales piece, it serves no purpose for
Yes,
me.
it does. No, it doesn't. Other than if you don't have the connections to meet with the OEMs and stuff, when there's events, COVID's a different year, but you can go to the events, you can meet them, you can sit down, you can
But I'm
talk
not
to
invited
face-to-face.
to the
Well,
event.
wait a second.
Well,
But-
if you're a member, you are.
But
No,
if you,
I'm not.
Well, if you are
Yeah,
a member,
if you're a member-
you could go to the events to meet the OEMs. But since the OEMs aren't coming to them
Yeah,
anymore,
so it
what
makes
the
it kind
hell?
of yeah.
And they have events where, they
And that was before COVID. They quit.
No,
coming.
and I'm talking about the tall events.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like for
Like
instance,
the truck rodeo.
like the Texas
Truck
Truck Rodeo. That's really not a rodeo because Ford
There's no cows.
Ford doesn't participate. So how is that a competition?
Well, one year we had Ford. We got a Ford truck in there so you could see it and everything. Trying to make do. GM's not in it either. They keep saying they're going to come back, but they haven't done it yet. It's not the
So
same.
if you can join Tawa to meet the OEMs, but the OEMs aren't in there,
Well,
what's
but
the value of
the rest
Tawa?
of them are there. Depends on who you want. Nissan, Jeep, Ram,
Okay.
Toyota.
The important ones.
By the way, it's Steve Parrott's birthday today. Shall we wish
Hey,
Steve
happy
Parrott with
birthday,
Nissan a
Steve
happy
Parrott.
birthday?
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, we know that you're up and watching up there in Nashville, so happy birthday
Happy
to you.
birthday.
Yeah, really.
It was at the beach a week or so ago.
At your house?
No, his house.
There's a beach
in Nashville?
No, down in Florida. There was COVID in the house. He was at the beach. His wife came down with COVID, and it was a light case, fortunately. And she told him to stay there. And apparently he didn't argue very much with her. So he
went 1,000 miles
So
away.
he's got a place at the beach, and he hasn't invited us down there?
Well, apparently
I can understand why.
He
Obviously,
bought
Because
it.
we can go to Mars's.
He bought it just before a hurricane, so now he's been working on it ever
gosh.
since the
and
hurricane.
obviously he didn't take his wife down there, so
Well, that's because he's still got to work on it.
yeah.
So anyway, so Tawa does that purpose. It's mainly for that purpose for somebody like you, but it's also the new people coming in that don't have those connections, and you can help people like that, the new journalists that are coming in, the young people that are
Well, I
trying to get
understand that
started
they
in
aren't
business.
journalists. They're bloggers and stuff.
Well, there's still journalists in there.
Really?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
Don't get me going. Happy Thanksgiving or happy Thanksgiving. Happy Valentine's Day, Candace.
Oh, is she watching?
She wished us a
Hello,
happy
Candace
Valentine's
Thackeray.
Day.
Thank you for joining us
And,
today.
and George has joined. Hi, George.
Hi,
Morning, George.
Stephen Ruse is doing warranty.
All right.
He's doing warranty. What does that mean, doing it?
Doing his paperwork for warranty.
Oh, I see.
Warranty claims.
Oh, okay.
He does that on a Saturday pretty regular.
Okay. So, kind of a preview of a preview. We've got.
So we got the internet up and it's stable. Everything's on and running.
You're such a tease. So, Sue Mead, she's going to talk to us along with her friend.
Amy
Yes, Amy
Lerner.
Lerner. Thank you. About the Dakar Rally.
Yikes! That sounds like a blast.
It does,
I
doesn't
think it is. Problem is we got to get Sue's audio working here.
Okay, well, you work
So
on
if Sue
that.
can hear us, wave at us.
So Mars has got the Ram TRX. That's that high-powered Hellcat engine in a truck. So we're going to talk about that. And then, oh, I see. Because are they in two segments? They're in two segments, aren't they?
Yeah. We're going
Yeah.
to talk about them in the first segment, and then we're going to talk about the actual going Dakar in the second segment.
Okay.
They're
Well,
going to be after Mike does his review.
And then Sabra Johnson with City Classic Cars. Love talking to him. Mm-hmm. Love talking to him.
You usually got good iron in the shop.
Yeah, and he's a fun guy.
Yep.
I get to review the Chrysler Pacifica. Don't make fun.
No, you
I like that. I'd
I
like
do.
it too. Yeah.
I think it's a real different take on a minivan, though.
I will be intently listening.
And then we're going to talk to the guys over at Houston Formula Garage,
Sweet.
Reggie Draper.
Here you go.
And now, is he going to talk to us from England?
No. Simon's in England.
Oh, okay.
Reggie's here in Houston.
All right. Just trying to make it all work for me in my feeble mind. We're going to talk to the Ford people about them selling used cars. Well, that's true.
No, somebody on Facebook said, I wonder if Ruse is going to call me to talk to me about buying a warranty for my car.
Car Shield.
That was pleasure. That's funny.
Who does that?
That's funny. That's funny.
Who does what?
Like in the commercial.
Just a room full of people.
Who does that?
Yeah. And who buys from them? I mean, like, seriously. Let me call you on the phone.
My mother almost bought from him one day.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, Lord. Are they still bugging your mother?
Oh, man. I had one
You
of
need
them.
to take the
one
phone
of them
away
cussed
from
me
her.
out the other day after I told him to stop calling her.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He cussed me out before he hung up.
I usually talk to
Did
them.
he use a 4-letter word or something?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
And then he used the extended version of it.
Great.
Just as he was hanging up. And I couldn't say too much. My mother was sitting right there, and I didn't. I was.
Well, you need to teach her those words.
Oh,
Take it on your own.
She
If I'm-
probably knows those
if I'm
words because
driving in
that's
the
her
car,
son.
if I'm driving in the car, I'll talk to him for 10 or 15
You
minutes.
toast that. That's hilarious.
Just because time is their value, is their money. So
Yeah.
I'll burn their time.
Hey, before you kick off the show, there's 315 days left till Christmas.
Thank you, Elf Jeff.
That's a good random thing. I'm getting hot.
You got 30 seconds to get over it.
No, you got 15 seconds to get over it. We're about to start.
Are we?
You ready to push your button?
Let me see. It looks like it, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get it.
All right. Well, stand by for a 3-hour mishap. Because here we go. Hello, everybody. From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning, we don't know why, automotive car talk show in Wheel Time. Just ahead, a review of our car of the week, the 2021 Ram TRX. That is that hot rod of a truck from Ram. We're going to have a look at the weekly events calendar, an in-depth look into the Dakar Rally, and we'll have the stories making automotive news headlines. That and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, February 13th, the day before Valentine's.
Yes, it is.
2021. Howdy, along with Mike out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. Off camera is Jeff Zeke, and you'll see him here in just a minute. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us on this Saturday. It's a bit chilly here in the Houston, Texas area, and I have to tell you that we're under all sorts of winter weather
I know.
advisories and warnings, and it's a big deal because we never get snow, sleet, ice, or do we ever get too far below freezing.
Yeah, but when you do, stay off the road. Nobody knows how to drive in it.
They're treating it like a hurricane episode.
Well, I remember.
Well, the news is.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when after Harvey in 2017, we got about 4 or 5 inches of snow one night. And then you wake up in the morning, it was beautiful with all the snow, but it was gone by 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
They say for every inch of rain is 10 inches of snow.
Correct. So can you imagine 520 inches of snow? Because we had 52 inches of rain.
We'd still be shoveling.
We are, but it's not snow.
They just started tearing down a couple of houses near my neighborhood that were abandoned after Harvey. They just went in there with a bulldozer and started blowing them over.
How big are these homes? Are they?
Oh, this had to be 3,000 plus square foot.
Oh my gosh!
Brick home.
Wow.
In your neighborhood?
It's next to my neighborhood. It's in a.
Still, it's a pretty nice neighborhood because I've been up to your house and pretty nice. Well, at any rate, Mr. Mars, are you going to give me the signal to hook up here with?
I was trying to get him to talk to me so we could do the audio check, but apparently they don't want to talk to me.
Sue Mead, are you there?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Don't talk to us about cold.
Where are you?
In New England, and it was certainly below zero last night, and I think Amy could probably say the same.
Is Amy with us? Oh, there she is, yes. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to both of you. Where are you, Amy?
I'm in northern New Jersey, so Sue actually wins in the Cold Wars.
Okay.
Is that winning?
We didn't know that there was a contest because we're right in there with you apparently on Monday night and Tuesday.
You have won a brand new snow shovel.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Exciting.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Well, yeah. So what we wanted to do is wanted to talk with both of you, and y'all divide it up however you want to. We want to talk about the Dakar Rally, and I thought, well, I'll try to explain that. No, y'all raced it. Y'all know more about it than I do, so y'all take your pick. Who wants to go first and maybe explain what the Dakar Rally is? We've all heard of it, of course, because it's kind of long in the tooth. 43 years, I think it's been going on, and it's.
And it's not in Dakar anymore.
It's not?
They've changed continents
Oh, they did.
a few years ago.
Okay. Well, I'll let the ladies.
See, that's the reason Don needs to let them talk.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I've got, 9 pages of information here, and it's like, okay, so I'm going to be the professor here and going to divide this up. No, I'll let you guys do it because you've done it, and you all know what's going on with this. So when did this
Amy's
happen?
even got the T-shirt.
When did this happen? And let's start there, and then we'll go to exactly where it is and how it runs.
Amy, would you like me to just do a really quick overview?
Yes, please.
Yeah, why don't you do that, and then when it gets time for Classic, I'll hop in.
Yes.
Great.
Okay. So the Dakar Rally was started in 1979 by a man named Terry Sabine, and it was originally called the Paris Dakar. You might remember that. And it started in Paris, France, and went to Dakar, Senegal, in Northern Africa. And what will be fun will be to have Amy tell you about the classic class, because back in the day, the original vehicles that ran the Dakar Rally looked like the vehicles, most of the vehicles that were in this year's classic class. But over the years, it gained notoriety as the world's longest, toughest off-road race. It was typically 5,000 to 6,000 miles, 10,000 kilometers, and it was done in stages. as opposed to the Baja 1000, which is an all-out race from start to finish. So I first, and let me just also say that as it gained notoriety, people came from all over the world. It's an international race with today with many different types of vehicles, motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, race vehicles that look like amalgamated race cars. If you're familiar with Robbie Gordon, we are on this continent. Robbie Gordon's style of putting a race car together, trucks, SUVs, and then a class of vehicles that we don't see race on this continent, which are, these are lorries, the either 4, 6, or 8 wheeled vehicles that are usually used for transport. There's a whole class of that type of vehicle. Just very quickly, I did it first in 2000. It was actually at that time a ceremonial start in Paris, ended, we went to Africa, ended in Senegal. There was a terrorist event that then was the very beginning of what happened here in the United States with 9/11. It foreshadowed that. And then in 2009, there was another terrorist event, and I was actually on the ground for that iteration in Portugal as it moved around, but always ended on the African continent. That was its home. When this happened in 2009 and the race was thrown belly up, it was then that it moved to South America. And there were a number of iterations in South America. And then there were no terrorist events there, thank goodness. It moved to Saudi Arabia 2 years ago. And one of the reasons was that the Saudi Arabian government asked the organization, which also puts on Tour de France, to come there. And it's a perfect terrain for desert racing. And now I'll let Amy and I both talked about the fact that it was in Saudi Arabia a year ago. And then I'll let Amy pick up with this year's iteration and how she became a racer and how I joined her team.
Please, Amy, we're ready.
So in June of last year, the Dakar organization announced that they had a new initiative they were starting. It was going to be called the Dakar Classic, which would be a regularity rally that ran alongside the same terrain as the main Dakar Rally. And the vehicles that would be eligible would be pre-2000 rally cars, either the original cars themselves that had competed back in the day at the Dakar Rally, or perhaps as well the cars that were built in tribute to those cars of that era. And they would run on terrain that was similar. We would stay in the same bivouacs, which is the camps, every night, and run as a stage rally, but it would be regularity rather than straight out speed. So regularity, if you're not familiar, is basically you have to get from point A to point B in a prescribed amount of time, which translates into a set average speed. So the way those stages would work, rather than start your stage, go as fast as you can to the end of the stage, you would be given a number of speed changes along the way, and you would try to get as close to those average speeds as possible as the terrain allowed it to end up. If you were supposed to finish in, 57 minutes and 42 seconds, you wanted to finish as close to that as you could. But you also had to keep the average speeds along the way. You couldn't just fly to the finish and stop and wait as the clock ran out, because you would get checked at various checkpoints along the way.
I was going to ask if I can interrupt here. So are you penalized if you get there too early or too late? Is that how that works?
You are, and interestingly, I think they know their audience. You get a greater penalty if you go too fast, hence arrive too early, than you would if you were too late, if you went too slow.
Interesting.
So they really
it's more dangerous to go fast.
Yes, and the goal of it was to make this challenging, which it was. The driving was incredibly technical. The navigation and the regularity portion of it are incredibly mental, and the fact that it's 12 days, it's a huge amount of endurance, but they wanted these vehicles, which are all really old and really special, to get to the finish intact.
So were you able to use your GPS to help you navigate this course? Because it's huge.
Or do you have to do it all with hand calculations and compasses and stuff?
You actually are given a paper road book for the navigation. Sometimes, I don't know how much time you guys have spent off-road. I'm assuming it's a bit.
None.
If you're an area where there are multiple tracks, there can be 3 tracks lined up right next to each other. And the way you know exactly which track you're on is which one lines up with the compass heading you're given. So you don't go on the right track, you're supposed to be in the middle track. So you get that. And you also had a device called a Trippy, which is a digital road book, an electronic road book, which gives you the same notes as you have on your paper road book, but it will also help you out and give you a warning if you get too far off course. Because again, they didn't want anybody lost. They didn't want anybody getting in too much trouble.
So in other words, basically, there is GPS tracking of you along the route.
Oh, absolutely. In
Okay.
addition to the Trippy, there is a small track device, which is purely there for safety. That is how they know where we are. There's a couple of emergency buttons. If you have a medical emergency, if you have a crash, if you just stop and can't move, so you will press the button and be in immediate contact with your organization.
So this is done on normal roads or way off road on tracks that people have traveled before?
100% off. The regularity sections are off-road, 100% off-road. And being that it was in Saudi Arabia, a country with not a great number of tourists, we were in places that I felt like we were probably, the only humans who had been through that area in a while. So it was quite incredible from that perspective, and stunningly beautiful, the terrain.
So how many days did it take to run the course?
The course runs the same amount of time as the main rally. So we had 12 days of competition. In the middle, there's 1 rest day. So six days of competition, rest day, 6 days of competition.
And so you obviously had to spend the night on the road.
No, you spend the night with the exception of the marathon stage, you spend the night at the Bivouac, which is the main camp with all the Dakar participants.
Okay. So there is a safety factor in numbers.
Yes, absolutely. And they know where you are at all times.
That's kind of what I was wondering about, because I had an aunt that lived over in Saudi Arabia, and she was very restricted on where she could go and what she could do because of the culture over there. And so I was wondering, how, if you had any issues, but if you're staying at a bivouac, I guess.
As a female driver.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually, that was one of the thoughts Sue and I said we had discussed this kind of thing when we heard that the rally itself was moving over there. This was not a normal year because of COVID. So interactions with local population was restricted. However, we did stop and get gas at least once a day, maybe twice a day. And if anything, I felt like we were a bit of a novelty. I've traveled extensively. I've been in Morocco several times, in various places all over the world. And I did not feel that there was any concern for safety. We weren't yelled at.
Weren't shot at or anything like that.
Oh, so you didn't go to Chicago.
Yeah, honestly, walking alone at night in certain parts of certain cities in the U.S., unfortunately, is not a place for a woman alone.
Right.
So did the bivouac move from location to location, or was the bivouac always the same spot and you kind of spoked out and back to the bivouac?
We basically circled the entire country.
Oh, wow.
So the bivouac moves. There were 3, I think, locations where we stayed in the same camp for 2 nights and did loops in and out of the same camp. I think some of that was planned originally. Some of that was in response to COVID to keep the interaction between the Dakar group and the local population as limited as possible to keep everyone safe. So we did not move as much as we might have, I think, ordinarily.
So did you guys share driving and navigation responsibilities?
No, my co-driver actually had never done a motorsport. And in the past 10 years, she told me she probably drove her car twice.
Oh my gosh.
She lived in Barcelona, Spain. So she was. It was an interesting choice. She said yes immediately. I had someone else that I've raced with before who was much more experienced, who was unable to go. So Sarah is a friend of mine, and she is an architect, and she had done some competitive sailing with the navigation. So I kind of had a good sense that she was going to sort it out. But automotively, ideally, your co-driver can fix the car, change the tire, drive when you're tired, in liaison stages. And she couldn't do any of that, but she did get really, really good at her co-driver job.
So you and Sue weren't hooked up together. One was driving and the other one is navigation. Did you all ever share a ride together?
No, Sue and I have actually not raced together. We've known each other for a number of years. We met at the Gazelle Rally in Morocco, and I think it was 2015. But Sue was there as support, so she was my go-to on all things media, and she made sure I had my race boots in the morning and made sure the snacks were packed. So
Sue was more experienced, clearly, with the driving aspect of it. But many years ago, Sue, did you drive in competition at all during the Dakar last year?
No, and that was my choice. Amy knew that about me, that I have raced the Dakar twice, the first time in 2000, as I said, and I was a co-driver, or the race is put on by French, and they call it copilote, in 2000 with Darren Skilton. And I then went back in 2010 and did a stint as a support driver for VW to look at the terrain in South America, and that was Argentina and Chile, making my mind up about being a driver of record. And Mike, you might remember this, both of you might, that in 2011, I'm sorry, I went back in 2010, right? And then in 2011, Ford gave me a pre-production Raptor. And I raced that in the Dakar and was just incredibly blessed by that vehicle. And Darren was my co-driver, although we shared driving and navigation duties. And we won our class and were the first Americans on record to ever win a class in the Dakar. So that was just incredibly special for me. I love off-road racing and the places it takes me. And I came away from that realizing that I didn't need to ever go back and do the Dakar. I thought, oh my gosh, you've stopped at the top. Let's stay there. So as Amy said, I did some other rallies and races. But when Amy talked about going to Dakar, it had become my goal to be a team manager. And I had actually had a very brief stint of being a team manager for Amy and Shelby Hall. And my goal was to help a team prepare and get through. And so I started working with Amy. She can tell you more about this, October 15th, which was shortly before the registration closed for this year. And when I first began, we had to work 7 days a week to put in place a plan. There's a lot of behind the scenes work, and worked on getting sponsors, worked on helping Amy get seats put in the vehicle. The vehicle was in Belgium, work on getting tires, and then develop the concept of a media plan to support the sponsors and be able to get Amy and the team good attention. And I have to tell you guys, I loved it. I did not miss racing. I'd like to go back and do another race that I haven't done, but it was challenging and fun to be working as a media manager and help out with a few things on management-wise on the ground in Saudi Arabia. And that's my plan, is to do more of that. So I loved working with Amy, and we've worked together on some other projects. So this was really fun.
When you said a team manager, obviously there were other people involved besides Amy?
Well, Amy, there's always, if you're in a two-person vehicle, there's always the driver and co-driver navigator. And there is also always mechanics. And Amy had 2 mechanics, and she also had on board a woman with incredible Dakar experience, Judith Tomaselli from France, who had been, I think, 25 times. And the beauty of having Judith is that she speaks fluent French and Spanish, and brought some other talents and folks on board. But as Amy said, it's not uncommon sometimes to have a navigator who can also wrench on the vehicle. Yeah. But it's when you're doing a 12-day race, whether you're in an older vehicle or a new vehicle like the Raptor, and you're driving over tough terrain, you really need that vehicle to be inspected and probably wrenched on every night to make it through 12 days of racing.
So when you say a team, you're talking about a team of people with mechanics, navigator, driver, support people, hey, we need more tires, and you're the person that kind of brings all of that together.
As the manager.
That's correct. Judith did some of that. There were things that I did. But when I did my first Dakar, we had 2 vehicles. They were Kia Sportage, and we had 10 people, which included all the kinds of folks I'm talking about. The more vehicles you have, the more you need to help as your support team. This, when I did my Dakar in 2011, we had 5 people on the team. Darren and myself in the car, 2 mechanics, and Chris Collard is the media manager. And the media manager has a really important role to fill in, as Amy said, to fill in a variety of ways and get communiques out for your sponsors, and also do things like grab Amy's snacks and boots and water. Let me tell you, you're out in the desert, you're in the desert in the middle of nowhere, and competing in the heat in a race suit and breaking down sometimes or getting stuck in the sand, and you need to get out. And so often, in addition to giving Amy the big thumbs up as she went out the door, I was saying, do you have your water? Do you have your snacks? And
so you're the team mom, too.
Yeah.
I'm good at being the team mom. That's one of my favorite things.
So do you get, Amy, did you get a chance to do a pre-flight of the course, or no? You just given the book and the app and off you go?
I did not even see my vehicle until a day before the competition starts.
Nice.
As Sue alluded to, I had a sort of last minute flash of, gee, I wonder if I could pull this together, which it turned out it was 2 weeks before the registrations closed, and called someone who I knew, who called someone, and found the Porsche that I ended up competing in that was available for sale. So it all kind of came together from there. But because of COVID, I was thinking, well, great, we'll get to Saudi Arabia early. I'll take the car. We'll do a little testing. Sarah and I will get all set up. And with the restrictions and the quarantines and the testing that we had to go through once we landed in Saudi Arabia, it was the afternoon before the prologue that I first saw the car. And I basically drove it, 100 feet in a parking lot. And then off we went.
Now, is that typical of all of the other teams also?
No, that was highly unusual. I mean, typically, your vehicle, you have possibly competed in it in a different rally to prep. You have gone and driven it for several days. You've gone over it mechanically, so you understand what could go wrong, and if it does go wrong, how do you fix it? And we did not have an opportunity.
Well, how fair is that? That doesn't seem very fair at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you get on a NASCAR team, you know that car inside and out.
Yeah, NASCAR's been testing for 4 months.
Right, exactly.
No, that's what typically happens with Dakar teams. Even in the classic side, they people know their vehicles. My car came from Belgium. I was not allowed to go to Belgium
to get
because of COVID restrictions. Even if I had time and wanted to, I was not able to.
Okay, so we're going to kind of change formats here just a little bit, and we're going to move our car review back to the next segment because I don't want to stop, and we're just going to continue on with our conversation. So you tell me that you know, this is a one-time deal that all of a sudden you're thrown into a car that you haven't even been with for 24 hours, and you're expected to be competitive. How does that play off in your psyche when you get out there and you're going, well, let's see, how does the car steer?
Yeah, where's the radio button?
Yeah, how does that work for you?
Sadly, there were no cup holders either. I had a couple of 93 Porsches that I had only driven as, driving cars. So I was a little bit familiar with it, though this car was very different for me because it was a two-wheel drive. I'm used to all of my desert activities and off-road activities have taken place in four-wheel SUVs, not two-wheel sports cars. It was also a manual transmission. And I grew up around antique cars, so I've driven a lot of different types of manual transmissions, but I quite honestly hadn't really driven one in, 20 years. So I knew I was going to have a learning curve. I knew Sarah, having not done a motorsport before, was going to have a learning curve. And we kind of just, I went in with the goal of going to take it easy, going to figure it out. And we are not necessarily going to end up on the podium. There's no reason why we can't if we figure this out quickly. And just learn a little bit every day and get better every day. And that's what we ended up doing. And not break the car. The priority is get to the finish line. Above all, in an event this long, but we did. We had, a couple of slow days to start, but then we just crept up every day, figured something else out, and got a little better, a little better, a little better.
So, did you ever stall it coming out of first gear? I have to ask that question.
The rally begins with this huge podium that's like a 10-foot ramp and then a stage, and they introduce you, and I was dying because at that point I had driven the car, like I said, 100 feet. Oh my God, I'm going to stall on camera. I didn't do that, but I did stall it going out of the start a couple of times. Well, leaving the bivouac once or twice, I did stall it.
You said you had a Porsche. What make and year model?
We had I had a 93 C2 Cabriolet and a 94, it was a C4 wide body.
No, that you drove this year.
Oh, this year. Oh, I'm sorry. This was a
race car.
Yeah, the fun one. The one that I still have. It's a 1982 911 SC with a 3.0 liter engine.
Now, wait just a minute. Now, let me understand this, because, I really don't know anything about off-road racing. But this is a Porsche automobile, a car, that's going to run off-road. Am I correct?
Correct.
So
it is not out of the box, though.
I'm just going to say, so there has to be modifications out the wazoo on this thing. It may have a Porsche body on it, but that's probably about it. Am I correct?
Actually, there is a lot that is original. It's not. I could be wrong. I don't know that much about NASCAR, but NASCAR cars kind of look like you could drive them to the mall.
But you can't.
But it's really just the appearance. Nothing is like a real car. This Porsche was built by a man who had raced Dakar a few times, and it was really well built. The main changes, the engine's original. The clutch was reinforced. The transmission was reinforced. There is an FIA spec race cage. Obviously, the suspension, it's a race suspension, so it lifts the car up a little bit to give you the ability to run off-road tires. There is underbody armor and a large fuel cell, 120-liter fuel cell, so that you can have the range necessary. But otherwise, race seats inside, the hood and the doors were replaced with carbon fiber to get rid of some weight. But the driving experience itself is pretty much the same as driving a Porsche from the drivetrain and engine.
It started life as a Porsche, came off the production line and was modified.
Yes, correct. It was modified, I want to say about 6 years ago, originally.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to take a quick break for our podcasts and all. So you guys stay with us for about a minute or so, and we're going to be right back with you, okay?
Great.
All right. Thanks so much, Sue Mead and Amy Lerner. Wow.
Cool story. How cool is that?
I know. So we're going to continue this conversation right after this quick break. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, February 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone's invited. You will see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, February 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, February 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting. This is the award-winning car talk. I'm sorry?
Nothing. Go ahead. I'm
This is the award-winning car talk show in Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin, I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us on this Saturday. Kind of a cold day here in Houston, Texas. And going to get even colder from what I understand. We're all geared up and ready for that. Not. Exactly. All right, so our guests right now are Amy Lerner and Sue Mead with the Dakar Rally experience, and we have had a very interesting conversation with them so far, and we're going to continue it now. So we've been talking about how the Dakar Rally works, the car that Amy drove, and that Sue is the team leader on. So with all of the folks that you've got for this one car and support of Amy's driving and the navigator and that sort of stuff, while they're on the road, while they're actually competing during the day, what are you doing other than clenching your teeth and scared to death that everything's going to work out just fine?
Well, you're on the move the whole time, and I'll explain that in a minute, but I did want to just jump back and fill in a couple quick spaces.
Yes, please.
My first Dakar, I trained with my co-driver in the vehicle that we drove for almost a year. And although Darren expected to be the driver only, I also competed with him in a race, driving it in the event that I needed to be a driver.
Right.
And then when I talked about the Ford Raptor, I was able to do 1,000-mile shakedown, actually at Big Bend National Park, and a little bit of driving with Darren before we put it on the boat to go to South America. So as Amy, by contrast, Amy never had that time with her co-driver. She never had that time with her race car. And yet I had so much confidence in her. I thought she was a little crazy, guys, when she told me she was going to race a 911 rear drive. And
you think?
There was a period of time where she was looking at a couple of four-wheel drive vehicles and threw in maybe the 911. And the day later said to me, not the 911. And I made the mistake. I learned, never say this. I said, oh, thank God you're not driving the 911. I was so worried. And then the following day, Amy being Amy, just bold and brave and creative, she said, guess what? I'm buying the 911. I thought, oh my goodness. I can't believe I said that. But the race is typically 5,000 or 6,000 miles long. It was this year. And as Amy said, there are bivouacs or encampments where the race travels. It travels along a route with usually hundreds of miles of desert dunes and beautiful desert terrain each day. And so the support needs to get to the bivouac each night. And in our case, Amy was wonderful and hired a motorhome for Judith and me to travel each day. And it could have been a minimum of 400 kilometers up to almost 900 kilometers each day that Judith and I would wait until Amy and Sarah and the mechanics were not only out of the bivouac, but on the road. And then we would take off and we would drive on roads. So it's all choreographed we would drive on roadways to get to the next bivouac. Dakar bivouacs are always located near an airstrip. Not only do they have ambulance and other helicopters to fly over the race in the event that they need to pick someone up, there's been an accident or injury, hence the ambulance medical helicopters. That's always a big comfort that they can get to people quickly. But also they do a lot of filming, and I know Amy has some, I believe some clips or some images of the filming that the helicopter does to provide coverage during the day. So we would meet in the evening. We would go, Judith and I in the motorhome, and our two mechanics, Ulish, that's really his name, and Mark from Belgium, they would drive the support truck, which was a giant lorry set up for everything from spare tires and spare parts to welding. We would meet up at the camp. We would set up our encampment for the night and wait for Amy and Sarah to show up. So the whole entourage, which this year was about 3,000 people, moved 5,000 miles throughout the country.
From airport to airport, basically.
Yes, you're near an airport. Sometimes you're more or less aware. And the other thing about the airport is that there are a number of the organization staff and media from around the world that travel. A few travel in autos. Many of them travel on a couple of 727s that fly each day to get the media and the others to the camp.
So Amy, what things happened that you didn't expect along the route that you had to make some big adaptations to complete?
We had what has been termed a mechanical mystery on our very first day. The pulley on the Porsche shattered.
Ouch.
So we are chugging along, and suddenly the car has no power. And I'm thinking, oh, great, I don't know this car. What just happened? So we pull off the track that everybody's riding on, open up the back and see a fan belt loose.
Yeah, so you knew that something was wrong.
Yeah, so we knew that something was wrong, and then realized that the pulley wasn't there, and waited, because one thing that I did do, not knowing the car, having a co-driver who was not a mechanic by any stretch of the imagination, was hire an assistance truck. And in the main Dakar Rally and in the Classic as well, you are allowed to get help, but only if it's from a competitor, a fellow competitor. So what all the top teams in the main rally do is they have either other vehicles in their class or a vehicle in the truck class. That sole purpose is to race behind them, filled with spare parts and people that know their car, so that if they have trouble on the course, those guys hop out and take care of things. So I did contract the services of an assistance truck, which was a old truck that hadn't been driven in 15 years, that was renovated to enter this class and carried some of my parts and some other teams as well. And those guys I knew were behind us. So we didn't really get upset because I knew they were going to come and tow us. I mean, I've done events where that would have happened and you're basically sitting there for potentially days until someone comes and gets you. So I wasn't really worried about it. I was like,
did they tow you to the? Did they tow you to the next stop, the bivouac?
Yeah, no, they ended up actually having to tow us to the bivouac because that was not something they expected to happen.
And did they have a spare pulley with them?
They did not have a spare pulley with them because, that is, and I've done some Googling afterwards. It's one of those things that really shouldn't happen unless the pulley is really old.
Well, even then, I've never heard of one shattering. Yeah.
This was brand new, yeah. So it's one of those things. Ulisse, our mechanic, has worked on that car for years, and he was just boggled. So we started.
You just call the local Porsche dealer to get a new pulley?
No, they had one, but it was on our mechanic's truck at the bivouac. It wasn't on the assistance truck.
Had to get to it.
Because that was one of those things that never fails.
You don't carry it out on the race because it doesn't break.
nobody anticipated that was going to happen. So we got our ride in. So I was very thankful for the assistance truck at that point. And, replaced it. And we were good to go the next day. But you have to, these things happen. And you have to you have to be ready.
You should have got the extended warranty when they called you.
Yeah, when they called. There you go. Yeah. So Sue said you had some pictures maybe?
Yes.
That you could share with us?
I have to figure out now how to
Share screen
and Zoom. Okay, here's the slideshow. Okay, let me get back to Zoom.
While Amy's doing that, I'm going to ask her to also talk to you or tell you the story of the exhaust.
The exhaust?
Actually, that's almost a better. That's a better story. Yeah. So, one of the days towards the end of the rally, maybe it was the 9th day of competition, the 10th day of competition. Sarah and I come into the camp. We're thinking we had a good day, thinking everything was fine. It was really rocky that day, and there was a one thing that we had to go kind of up and down that was very narrow. So the front of the car scraped and the back of the car scraped. But we got out and looked at the car and everything seemed to be okay afterwards. And we come into camp and we're like, yes, no problems today. I think everything's good. And somebody says, hey, you might want to come and take a look at the back of the car again. I walk around. We have no exhaust.
No exhaust.
The exhaust on the Porsche runs right under the back bumper. So somewhere along the way, one of those rocks that we hit that I didn't think was that much of an issue because it didn't feel bad. And I've hit a lot of rocks. So I know, okay, you have to check now and again. I guess rip the exhaust off. The mechanic is, stomping his feet, muttering to himself in circles. What am I going to do? We can't run 3 days. You're going to wreck the engine. Da, da, da. What am I going to do? I got to figure this out. And our assistance truck pulls in. And the guys who are in the assistance truck hop down, come on over. They're like, hey, how was your day? I'm like, yeah, it was good. We had something funny. We found something.
It was your exhaust system.
They had no idea. They had not seen my car at that point and did not know that we didn't have the exhaust.
Oh, how funny.
And they were like, yeah, look. And the guy
That's some
pulls up
spare
the
parts
exhaust.
for you.
So you mean to tell me after all of this time that it was still worthy of being put back on the engine?
Yeah, it required some major creative welding, but it had just, the two connection points on the ends, the pipes, it just pulled off. So the exhaust itself required a couple of little bangs with a hammer, but it was pretty solid. But it was just the pipes that just pulled off.
How fortunate are you that those guys found the thing?
It was, rally gods were smiling all over Saudi Arabia for us that day. It was just crazy. And amazing story for everybody. That was a hilarious thing to happen. But as they say, it's the Dakar. So
I have to tell you that we got about 3 minutes left in the interview, and I wanted to make sure that we kind of wrap things up here. Where did you wind up finishing in the overall?
We ended up overall second in class and 15 overall.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Congratulations on that.
Wow.
So are you going to race again?
Yeah, I think I've got some ideas for next year, and it'll be fun to see what we can put together with the luxury of time and having a whole year to plan instead of 2 weeks.
I have an idea.
So is Sue going to be the team mom again?
I hope so.
Take Don with you. Don wants to go on your next rally with you.
I'm good.
We need a break.
Unpack my bags. I would love that. Amy, are you able to show any images right now or no?
Yes, it says the host needs to disable.
Give her permission.
Needs to allow screen sharing.
Well,
He doesn't know how to do that.
As soon as he figures out how to do that.
Okay, guys, and I'm going to be interruptive one more time because I know we're right at the end. I'm hoping that you'll have Amy back on to talk about one of her greatest achievements in the time that I've known her, and that is that Amy has been the producer of an off-road movie that has gone to many film festivals in the last year. I worked with her a bit on it for 3 years, and it's on Rod Hall, who you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's called One More Win. And you should do a whole show on that. And Amy's making it during both the Mexican 1000 and the Baja 1000. Shy of COVID, it might be a number of places, big screen or other places that Amy has considered. But I'm just so enamored with what she did with that movie. There are very few off-road movies, very few authentic ones. So I want to make sure you hear that.
Kind of Days of Thunder in Sand.
There you go.
Kind of.
Kind of like that. Yeah, exactly.
She really appreciates it. Just the heads up, Don.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember Days of Thunder. I was like,
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
This is Days of Dust.
Days of Dust. Perfect. Yes, exactly. Well, ladies, it has been a true pleasure, and what a great story. And we will be obviously getting in touch with you, Amy, and Sue. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. What a great writer Sue is. And just look up Sue Mead, and she's got some wonderful stories to tell in writing fashion. So, Sue, thank you very much, and congratulations on being the team leader, or as I like to call it, the coach. And Amy, it's great to talk to you and meet you, and we will be in touch with you because, yes, we want to pursue your story a little bit further.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks so much. Great to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, Sue, we'll talk to you again, Sue. Take care, y'all.
I hope I see you guys on the road soon.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, really.
We promise, and hopefully without
Yeah.
a snow shovel next to us.
Yeah.
All right.
Be well, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Be careful.
All right.
Thanks.
So it's time now for our delayed car review, Mr. Mars. As soon as you get done with what you're doing there, we need
Yeah.
to talk about the Ram TRX. Are you ready to do that? No,
Yes, sir.
apparently not.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you
I'm
are?
ready.
He says, saying.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the TRX. I mean, this kind of wraps up my whole Hellcat month that we've had going on here.
A month of hell.
A month of Hellcat, yeah. So what we're talking about is a 2021 Ram 1500. Now, this is a TRX. Now, this was introduced a few years ago at the auto show at the Texas State Fair, and it was a big deal. And Jim Morrison was with Ram at the time, and he unveiled it, cranked that thing up, and I mean, it was just an awesome thing. But it was so much that nobody really figured they'd ever build it. Well, here it is in all its glory. This is a full-size pickup. And it's some of the changes. It's based on a Ram 1500, but because of the body and the way they've done some things, it's actually 8 inches wider. It's got an aluminum hood on it with a functional hood scoop that actually supplies 50% of the airflow down to the engine. So it's got a unique TRX grill up and badging and graphics. It's got a real unique look to itself because it is an off-road vehicle.
Looks kind of like the Rebel, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, then you get to the interior and it looks a whole lot like the Rebel because that's what it's based on. Now, one of the things on the outside of it, there's a lot of people going to 20 and 22-inch wheels, but this is using an 18 by 9-inch wheel.
That's my favorite look on a truck.
Yes, but it's by design because it gives it a little more rubber for the off-road functionality of it. This did have the beadlock capable aluminum wheels on it. Had the tonneau cover for covering things up in the back of it. So it's a real nice setup on the outside of it.
So
really
the stuff
unique.
doesn't go flying out of the bed.
That's right. Whenever you jump something,
Or you ran the Dakar Rally.
And the flares to deal with the wider tires.
that's part of the body being much wider, 8 inches wider. And when you get to the interior, again, it's based on the Rebel layout on the interiors where it's really noticeable. You've got the leather interior, heated front seats. The rear seats are actually heated. They're a 60/40 that fold up. The front seats are ventilated.
That's
It's
pretty.
got the under the floor storage in the rear seats that I really like, and I'm surprised nobody else really does that. Now, we did have the heads-up display, and it'll have actually 5 different functions that you can put up on this heads-up display. Now, there in the picture that you've got there, that's the gauge package, and what that is, you can select the different drive modes. And when you do that, it comes up in a picture. There's a pictogram to kind of show you where you're at in the snow, the sand, whatever. And it's built in. There's some buttons down on the bottom of the dash so that you can actually make those selections for your drive mode.
Very cool.
As part of that whole gauge package there. Of course, we had the big 12-inch screen right there. That's what the performance pages look like whenever you pull them up because it is a Hellcat. You got to have it. That's what it looks like when you pull it up. There's just tons of information there. And you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, there's your drive mode selection buttons right there.
It's huge.
And we also
That's where your co-driver comes in as handy.
Oh, yes, absolutely, because there's a lot of – you can get lost over there trying to read all that stuff. We also had the Harman Kardon 19-speaker audio system in this baby.
you
But, and you had to crank it up to drown out the noise. Now,
I like the green frame.
I was looking for a shot of the engine because this is the 6.2-liter supercharged
size of that
V8.
thing.
It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Hellcat motor. 702 horsepower in this version, 650 pound-feet of torque.
Oh, my gosh.
Backed by an 8-speed automatic. And in this picture, you can see the suspension and the different lengths of the suspension and stuff, how they've set this thing up. And it really makes a big difference, not only in the off-road world, but in the highway, going down the road. This thing will run at speed on the highway, and it will.
We don't want to say what speed, do we?
But I mean, it's a cruiser on the highway.
Did you
It's
get a
amazing. No, sir, I did not.
Should you have?
Better luck next time.
You only should if you get caught. You should.
Moving on.
So anyway, I have to say the EPA rating on this vehicle, if you're interested, which you shouldn't be when you go to look at a vehicle like this, city EPA says 10, highway 14, combined you should be looking at about 12.
It's a race truck, for God's sake.
So who cares? I mean, you really shouldn't care about all that. So it just, and not only does it have this awesome level of power, the sound. You know, you can put this thing in fourth gear at 30 miles an hour and you're cruising down the drag and you can hear that belt on that supercharge. You can hear that whine setting in there and you can load it up and just go down the road listening to that with the exhaust. And but like
we
I
know
say,
that you did, because otherwise you wouldn't say it.
you know, you have to find it, but you can do that. And like I say, it's remarkably tame out on the highway because of all the suspension that really works well when you're going in the off-road.
And the Department of Public Safety.
And the DPS, yes. I do have to say that there are actually 4 different drive modes. There's normal, and then there's one for snow, then there's off-road, and then there's one called Baja, where it really changes some things. Of course, we don't have a lot of rocks down here. It's basically sand. But
Maybe you could change that to read Dakar.
I was thinking
yeah. And it does have launch control, which kind of that's part of the performance.
Control on a 4-wheel drive truck. That's awesome.
Well, I couldn't figure out a use for it, and so
Launching
I
off
never
a
did
cliff.
try it. But it was kind of like I saw it in the performance
Mars,
pages.
don't tell us
No,
you
I
didn't
didn't
try it.
Not on this truck because why?
Why not?
Because you can.
Well,
Exactly. I can see.
I guess so,
I can
but-
see those big knobby tires just burning off chunks at a time.
yeah, exactly. Throwing them into the windshield of the car behind you. Now,
Probably just ripping the road up.
Yeah. If you're looking for something to compare this to, I really looked, and really the only thing out there is the Ford Raptor. Now, this one, right now, you're going to get a V6 in it, not the big V8. They say they've got a V8 coming.
Yeah, for 21.
Yes, but the 20, you're going to get a V6. Now, the Raptor is going to be about $80,000 if you go look at it. Now, the TRX, if you start looking at it, you're going to start at $69,995. Now, $7,900 of that is the TRX package. But our MSRP, as tested on this awesome, badass truck, was $88,265.
Wow.
And they will sell every one they build.
Oh, I think they've already sold them, I think.
Yeah.
It just, I could not find anything about it that I didn't like other than the fuel economy. And if I had the money to buy one like that, I wouldn't worry about it.
When you're spending $90,000, it doesn't make any difference. If it had 2 miles per gallon, who cares?
Well, and the important thing is you could spend $90,000 on a lot of things that are not nearly as much fun to drive as this. You know, I had it out Tailpipes and Tacos the last time we were out there. A lot of people out there are oohing and ahhing over it. I should have sold it.
You should have.
I should have sold
I'm
it.
sorry. Kimberly, I'm sorry, but we've misplaced it. We don't know
It's
what
gone.
happened to it.
We sold it. It's
but
over
my
here.
pockets are really big now.
It gone.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I did want to bring up a couple of news headlines. One of them is this week's recalls. Let's see. This would be the Volkswagen lineup of the Atlas and the Atlas Cross Sport, both for 2020-21. And it would be loss of steering due to knuckle failure. You know, knuckles, baby. Knuckle failure. So be on the lookout for a recall in your mailbox soon.
Loss of steering. That's an interesting.
At least it's not a thermal event.
It'd probably be just as bad.
I was just going to say. But unfortunately for this, how else are you going to find out that you've got loss of steering?
Until you lose it.
Mm-hmm. Another one from Volkswagen is a detached circlip can cause the steering to lock up on the Audi Q3 for 2019.
Well, that's a good blend. You can either lose your steering or it can lock up.
There you go.
And nothing in between. Oh, my God.
One extreme or the other.
There is a recall on the Jeep Gladiator and the Jeep Wrangler 2018 to 2021 for some models. The clutch pressure plate may overheat. That's not a good thing. BMW, loose steering column shaft on the BMW X5, X6, X7 for 2021. Mercedes-Benz, the transmission may shift into neutral while driving on the GLA 250 for 2019.
Wow.
Tesla Tesla is having a recall.
Everybody has a recall.
Center display can lose the rear view camera image. Do we really care? No. If you lose it, take it in. They'll fix it. Master cylinder pushrod may disconnect on the Ram 1500 for 2021. That's going to be a recall, and that's the recall list for this week.
So you heard that General Motors is having a class action lawsuit brought against it for the consumers about an oil consumption defect on the LS motor in 9 different GM trucks.
Speaking of that, I understand that there is a valve spring issue in the Corvette motor that is currently underway.
Well, this is the second generation of the valve spring issue in the Corvette.
How do you have a valve spring issue?
They went through it in the C7. Now they're also having it in the C8.
Same manufacturer of the valve springs?
Apparently.
I don't think I would be using that supplier any longer.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, it's a double spring, so there's an outer spring and then there's an inner spring, and it's the outer. I believe it's the outer spring that's failing.
So it's random on the cylinder. It's not just one particular. It's just random.
Correct. Well, yeah, the way the valve springs are put in, they're put in kind of random. And in some instances, the valve spring breaks and the keeper stays in place. And it's fixable. In other instances, the valve spring breaks and you explode the motor.
I was just going to say it destroys the motor.
Drops it into the piston,
and everything goes boom.
It's kind of like having a nut in the intake manifold and the engine swallows it, and that's the end of that
the voice
motor.
of experience. You drop one down the carburetor one time.
It was a Richardson Chevrolet thing. We don't know how it got in there, but somehow.
Tune in next week.
But yeah, they're having an issue with valve springs. You can read about all that on the Corvette forums. They are just smoking mad.
Cadillac moved the needle on Super Bowl Sunday. Did you see it? I know Jeff did.
I did.
All it took was a pair of scissor hands and a friendly joust with Norway over electric vehicles. And judging by shopping activity on third-party sites and search traffic across the web, Cadillac was the big winner thanks to 2 Super Bowl spots that showcased the upcoming electric Lyric crossover. Luxury brand revived the Edward Scissorhands universe for a brand spot that's centered on his son Edgar Scissorhand, not Edward. You get it. The highlighted Cadillac Super Cruise driver assist technology also. In a corporate spot for GM, the Lyric grabbed the screen time as actor Will Ferrell took on Norway.
Do you know why they chose Norway to pick on? In Norway, 54% of all new vehicles sold in 2020 were full electric vehicles, where here in the United States, plug-in electrics are only about 2.2% of sales. So they were trying to challenge the Americas to buy much more electric vehicles through that commercial.
And my question is that the Lyric that they did on the commercial is different than the Lyric I see on all the web. It's more of a sedan, more of a elongated.
What you're looking at is the
prototype.
Showcar, yeah.
But I like that too.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to be.
It's going to be a CUV.
We could talk about Cadillacs all day.
I know that. And that's why I kind of threw that in there. Traffic gains weren't limited to GM Jeep spot, which starred iconic musician Bruce Springsteen.
Uh-oh.
Jeep's call for unity, the middle, led to a 93% traffic spike for Jeep brands on cars.com. Auto Trader searches for Jeep increased 36%, while the brand saw an 11% rise on new vehicle pages on Kelley Blue Book.
You heard they dropped the ad,
well,
right?
you didn't let me finish.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, they've since dropped the ad because it came to light that apparently Bruce was arrested for DWI, so that spot is currently on hold. I don't know what they're doing.
I wonder if they'll get their money back that they paid him for.
I'll bet not.
Probably in court costs.
Court cost, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but he wants to tell us what to do.
Yeah, but it was a good spot, I have to admit. And Los Angeles Auto Show has switched dates once again and will now take place in November of this year, when it has been staged in recent years, according to organizers on Thursday. The rescheduled 2021 LA show is the latest in a flurry of moves on the global auto show schedule. The Detroit Auto Show, rescheduled because of the pandemic, was canceled altogether for this year. The Chicago Auto Show for 2021, which typically takes place in February, was postponed to simply spring of 2021. Well, guess what?
Maybe.
That ain't going to happen. New York Auto Show will now take place August the 20th 20th through the 29th. We'll see if that takes place as well. But I would think that it would probably have a better chance of being on the schedule nationwide than any of the others before that. Because my thing has always been, not that I'm an expert, just guessing, that I would like to think that by Labor Day, we should be coming out of this whole pandemic thing. I hope.
We're supposed to be wearing masks until like 2097 or something.
Yeah, we're supposed to be wearing 2 and 3 masks now, if you listen to Fauci.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll continue with the Wheel Time Show right after this.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, February 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone's invited. You will see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, February 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you with the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, February 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting.
By the way, that's scheduled for next weekend, Tailpipes and Tacos. From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning All Things Automotive Car Talk Show in Wheel Time. Just ahead this hour, our new car of the week, the all-new 2021 Chrysler Pacifica. We'll have This Week in Auto History. We'll have the cruise-in calendar and the stories making auto news headlines, among other things. That and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, February 13th, 2021.
The day before Valentine's Day, Don.
Hubba hubba.
And
Happy Valentine's Day. Will you be my Valentine? Oh, isn't that cute?
you. Do we have any? We
do.
Kind of sanitizer
Always
in
got to
here?
go there for some reason. We always got to go there.
We do. So we were supposed to have Sabra Johnson with City Classic Cars on. We can't get a hold of him, and he's probably sleeping in, or getting ready for Valentine's Day.
Or he lives up north someplace. He may
He
run
lives up
in
in
some
Spring.
Well, that's where his shop is, but
Yeah.
he's got some acreage someplace up there.
It's de-icing.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Well, it's
Maybe.
not quite there yet. I don't even know what the
I don't
temperature
know.
currently
But
is.
it's supposed to be
cold.
there.
Yeah, cold.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold
me
enough.
check.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Let's see.
What a visual!
Out here in the
In the hinterland.
in the
Hinterland.
No, it was
hinterland.
34 when I left the house this morning.
Currently 36 here.
See, it's warming up.
It is. It was 34 when I got here this morning.
When it gets to 40, sell.
Well, it's supposed to be like 10 on Monday morning
And snow and ice.
for you, not here.
No, not down this far south.
So
Down here at the Smoke and Mirrors studio.
That's the network.
So
This is Studio A.
Studio A. So some people are still going to be on the road.
Hey, forget about it.
What, Mars?
I was just going to say some people are still going to be on the road. Anyway.
Why?
Well, because I mean they're going to
gonna
want
be
to
all
go to
over
work.
the road.
Yeah, they're going to be all over the road.
There's
Listen,
a pink
and
blob moving.
I want you
past
to
Bay
know
City.
that wreck in Dallas
Was
Fort
horrific.
Worth it was horrific. And, you know, that sort of thing can happen just like that without any notice. You know, it freezes the rain that's on the roadway, and it just happens instantly. And all of a sudden, you don't have any control, and here you go. Because what were you doing, 60, 70 miles an hour? It's a freeway.
Even if you're doing 50, and all of a sudden you have zero control.
If you're doing 10, you have no control.
Black ice is, there's nothing you can do. And from what I saw, some of the aerials, they were basically in a concrete canyon. They had concrete on both sides of them. Because I remember,
it's an elevated section.
Yeah, well, growing up in New York, if you saw black ice and there was something in front of you, you'd dive off as best you can. Don't touch the brake, don't change your speed, and just turn the wheel and try and get off into the grass, because in the grass you can get traction. There, I mean, some of those those vehicles. It was just horrific to watch.
Well,
some of that video.
especially the video with the FedEx truck that crashed in it. 6 people were killed.
Yeah.
And, we had something similar, although thank goodness nobody was actually seriously injured or died, similar to that up there in
Magnolia.
in your part of town.
Up on 1774, just south of 1480.
Yep.
There's a big, long bridge. And first thing in the morning, the rain we had yesterday up there, the bridges are going to ice up first. And it iced up. And I think they said 13 people plowed into each other.
Let me ask you something. Do you have an ice scraper in your car? I don't.
I got a credit card.
Yeah, I've used a credit card.
I actually have one in the garage with the brush on the end of it. Yeah.
Well, you're a Yankee.
Well, at the time when
You're
I was
a damn Yankee, actually.
when I was traveling and you have a rental car, you just automatically just take it out of the rental car because I would travel in the snowbelt states.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a scraper in the car. I think I do have one in the garage, but it's it's probably 25
I haven't owned an ice
years old.
scraper in ever, I don't think.
So, but for me, it's like the frost on the windshield, and I do what Mars does. I keep some old hotel door keys, like a credit card, and I use that to scrape the windshield because the last time I turned my heater on full blast on the windshield,
Broke it.
went and then it went again. And I was like, these 2 huge cracks.
But it's a good time now to change your wiper blades. Get it done. I know I did. I put some on Kathy's car.
Change your wiper blades twice a year. Mm-hmm. At least once a year, but twice a year.
Twice
is
a
what
year,
they say.
yeah.
The wiper blade companies say twice a year. Hey, Sabre. Well, we're glad you joined us.
From City Classic Cars, ladies and gentlemen, he's a day late and a dollar short, but here he is, Sabra Johnson. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, good. Did we wake you?
No, I just drove down to the shop. So I left home, I guess, about 8:15. Roads a little whatever out there. So
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we were thinking. That's how we got on this conversation. So where's the shop, and what part of town do you live in?
All right, we're in Spring, Texas. I live in Magnolia, so it's about normally it's about a 25-minute drive in. So I get on 249, come right in, get off on Luetta, come on down, make a right on Steuben Airline, and I'm right here, man.
Well, you know that you're under the gun apparently on Sunday night and Monday and maybe even Tuesday with the all of the bad weather and the below freezing temperatures.
Yeah, we're gonna close on Monday. We're gonna play it by ear on Tuesday. I meet with my guys every morning, and part of yesterday I made the decision. Hey, let's just shut it down on Monday, keep everybody safe. A lot of guys work here. A lot of them travel, upwards of an hour and a half away just to get here. So.
Right. Well, how have you been, and what do you got going on over there at City Classic?
Well, I have been outstanding. Thank the good Lord for that. He's been keeping us through this season of COVID from a physical perspective and COVID from an economic perspective. So I must say that we're blessed on this side of things, and certainly praying for those individuals that are affected much more than us. Now, from a business perspective in this climate, the hardest thing for us, I don't know if this answers your question, but the hardest thing for us right now is the supply chain. The supply chain is broken. The supply chain is damaged. So you have the retailer side of things that can't get supplies, and then you have the manufacturers that can't get the supplies. But the one who get the biggest complaint is the dealer.
Yeah, because you're trapped in the middle. Customers are wanting their cars back, but you can't get parts.
So, Sabra, let me ask you. Our followers, our viewers, all the people that follow us with their cell phones and their podcasts and that sort of thing, give them an idea of what City Classic Cars is all about. What do you guys do up there?
City Classic Cars is about building premier cars. We're not a repair center. We're not a patch-up shop. We're going to do the whole thing. We're going to do it full throttle. And we want to build some of the best and most iconic and most epic cars throughout the world. We don't compete in a zip code. We don't compete in a state. Our mantra is the best of the best. And so there's a euphoric greatness that we're all pushing for and achieving for. And that's what we do. Now, furthering that, we're a one-stop shop. There are a lot of guys that farm out Some of them paint, and they say they build cars, and they send the mechanic work and interior work somewhere else. Some guys say that they can do the interior and the mechanical, and then they farm out the other aspects. We do it all here on site. I do fabrication at my shop. I do chassis work at my shop, body work at my shop, paint work at my shop. I do all of the electronics, all of the engineering, all of the mechanical, all of the upholstery, and I even have a wood fabricator in shop. So it's we're one of the elite shops throughout the entire country, and we build some of the baddest cars on the planet.
If you were to pick one of the cars that you have built as a really good example of what you turn out, which one would it be?
Probably whatever we're working on at the current time. Right answer. I tell you a couple of ones that we're finishing up now. One is I think you'll like them. One is a 1970 Super B. For the most part, it's going back stock. So it's a Super B. It's that sublime, gooey green kind of color. And we put some custom graphics on it as far as the B emblem. But for the most part, man, it looks like 1970. It looks like you step back in time, and the car is true to its pedigree, to its history. It's not a reimagination of it. And then another one that's exciting is a 1972 Chevelle, which is the complete opposite. It's a reimagination of the 1972 Chevelle. So probably those two muscle cars are two right now that are kind of on my mind, on my psyche, because those are the next two out the door.
So what are the power plants in both of them? Is the Super B a 440?
Super B is a 440, making a whole lot more power than the stock 440. And the Chevelle is an LS9.
Oh, wow.
We're going to push it with that 6-speed. And so, they're both going to make a lot of rumbling noise in the neighborhood, I guess you'd say. They put the M in muscle, man.
Now, are both of these vehicles, were they frame-off restorations?
Yeah, full throttle from beginning to end. We get them as rust buckets and blow them apart is the first thing we do. And I have a 25-step process. Step 25 is the end. But all these cars started at step 1, and they're both somewhere around step 22, 23.
Oh, so you're getting close to completion on both of them.
Both of those are really, really soon. Probably Super B probably has like 3 or 4 weeks left, and the Chevelle is a little bit more complicated. I got 3 guys on that. We're going to fast track a little bit. We'll probably have 30 days left, but we'll probably have, 400 man hours left in it. A lot more time in the Chevelle than it is in the Mopar.
How long has that Chevelle been in the shop?
Chevelle, I probably had that Chevelle almost 2 years, and I've had the Mopar probably right around a year, maybe 13 months or something like that.
A lot of people think that, I'm going to have my car redone, and I'm supposed to have it back here in a month or 2.
2 weeks.
It just isn't that way, is it?
No, it's unrealistic. And even if you have the money and you're willing to pay at that fast rate, life happens. People get married. People get divorced. Pandemics happen. Yeah. Life happens. And so when you're restoring a car, life is still happening. And so that's part. It's not always the shop that says, hey, we can't get it out. I can probably build them all in 11 months, but life happens.
Yes,
and
of course.
You have to kind of let it pace itself a little bit, kind of keep everybody happy. If a car costs $300,000-$400,000 and we finish it in 10 months, boy, that's a whole lot of money in a short span of time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels a little better when it takes 15 months to pay that.
Getting your money's worth out of it.
Over your left shoulder, there's a video over your left shoulder. Are those the vehicles you're talking about?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but yeah.
Yeah, one of them is the Super B.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if you saw Sublime Green, that's a Super B. Looks like that one there. Now you're going to make me mention everybody's car so I get in trouble. That one is 1956 Nomad. And I think you like that one too. It's as a Pro Touring interior, there's a custom interior to it, but for the most part, it's stock. There's a 383 stroker in it, which is nothing but 350. So there's a 383 stroker in it, a custom interior, but even the interior is not too far over the top. We just put 4 buckets in it and a custom console coming down the center. But for the most part, that's a car you can appreciate. That, and when I say appreciate, let me clarify. I don't like to build spaceships. I don't like to build a space shuttle on 4 wheels. You know what I mean? I like to build cars that are period specific, that are aesthetically pleasing, and that really attempts to preserve and restore and bring back to life the original car, and not try to make it something new and something it's never been. So you find a lot of builders today, and I don't knock them, everybody do their thing, but they want to make a car that's 90% custom and 10% original. And that's not what I'm into. You know, the famous Boyd Collington, his cars were so unique to their original design that the state of California said, you're not restoring, buddy, you are building cars.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a manufacturer now because your cars lack resemblance and connectivity to its original intended design.
Too much
And
new.
So I believe in putting the car back like it was. I like a 60-40 split, meaning the car is going to be a minimum of 60% original if I build it. I'm not into building a car that's 90% custom and don't even have inner fender wells and all that old.
Plus, you're looking to build a car that's a driver. You're not necessarily looking to build a trailer queen.
No, I mean, all my cars got to drive. They got to move. They got to start up. They got to run, man. And you can put them on the trailer because they're not gonna ride Secretary to the race. They're gonna put Secretary in that trailer and unload her. Then let it run. So same thing here with the cars. You'll put them in a trailer because, I mean, face it, you have $500,000 in some of these cars. And so you want to protect them as best you can. And you'll trailer them where you want to go. But at the same time, man, I can crank mine up and let's roll.
So, Sabra, I have to jump in here and just kind of change the subject just a little bit. And the fact that, I kind of want to get a handle on who you are. And I'm not talking about the shop truck here, but what is your own personal vehicle that you drive back and forth to work?
The unexciting story says it's an F-250 truck. Diesel. That's the unexciting part because I'm always pulling cars or pulling horses. I'm real big into the horses personally. It's something my wife, my family, my children, we do. I live on a ranch, operate a ranch, feed horses every day. My kids ride every day. And I probably go to a horse sale a couple of times a month. Some things people don't know about me. We're in the racing business and we race horses. So our competition and our love for the equestrian sports and the horses is about as strong as it is for the cars. Now, what cars do I have personally? From the collector side, got a lot of vets that some new, some old, and Camaros and things of that nature. But when a client comes in and they want a car, if I got it, they got it.
Absolutely. So not only do you fix these cars and you do such a great job, obviously, but you also sell the cars. So you're really a full-service shop there, so to speak.
Yeah, I did a car in 1967. I think the last time I talked to you guys, the 1967 Camaro. That was my car. My wife and kids, they drove it. They enjoyed it. And a client came in, it was parked, and he said he was from Argentina. He wanted me to build him a car. He didn't have a car. He saw that Camaro. He said, I want that one. I want you to build that one for me. Well, I mean, so I sold it.
Shifted. So, Sabra, let me ask you. One of the things I've always admired about you and what you do, and you can see some of it on your website, is your work with young people, your mentoring process. For a while you had a deal going with some of the high schools and stuff. Could you kind of expand on some of that real quick?
Yeah, I think we have a responsibility as people in general. And then if I come back to the car industry, we certainly have a responsibility to pass this knowledge off.
Yeah.
And then you have young people that did not grow up with fathers and or it could be a mom too in the garage, but did not grow up with the heritage of being and tinkering in the garage on the weekends. And so they don't have some of that story. And so I think it's wonderful to work with your hands and to build something mechanically. And so I do everything I can to pass that knowledge off to Pat, to share this love. We call it the passion, man, that passion. And so we try to share this passion, which is with as many young people as we can, and we try to get them infected. You know, I had 3 young guys that worked for me as high school apprentices. One of them is on his 4th shop in Houston. He's at, I think it's called Quick Car. And I was excited about that. I said, man, you serious about this? Another one, I did some work for his father here just this week. His father told me he's at a high-performance shop doing bolt-on performance. I said, man, you got to be kidding me. And then another one, and all these were in the same class. They were at my shop at the same time. And then another one is at McPherson's College studying automotive restoration.
Oh,
so
cool.
It just goes to show that if we give back and we allow these young people to come in and partake in what we're doing, whatever that is, whether it's being in the media like you guys or whether it's building cars like me, when we give young individuals a role model and give them a insider view of what it's like, man, they might catch that passion, you know. So I love it, and I feel a responsibility to give back.
So are you somewhat connected with Klein High School since it's right across the street from you, or are these kids that are coming out of other programs?
You know, I think I'm about 6 or 7 years in with Klein, and we established a relationship with them some years ago. And that's where we get most of our young people from. Now, I haven't had young people in my shop in about 9 months because of COVID. We partnered with that school. Other schools have asked us, and the shop instructor at Klein is like, no, keep it exclusive.
We've had
Plus they're close, you know.
Jonathan Couch on the show a number of times from Klein Forest, and I know Jonathan does a real nice job as well, mentoring his students and following them after they go through the program. So it's good that you keep in touch with them, because I think that's still part of the mentorship after they've passed through your program. Where are you? What are you doing? And how are you continuing to expand? Because I've heard great things about McPherson as far as a school to go learn restoration.
So
process.
what about your own children? Are they mentoring to get into your shop as well?
Yeah, well, my daughter, I have 2 of them. One is 14. Let me see, they just had birthdays. One is 14 and one is 8.
You better get it
So
right.
The 14-year-old is really, really big in the equestrian. She really deals with the horses and rides them and trains them. And so she and my wife, they really spend a lot of time doing that. But when we get behind on paperwork, I have her come in here and put some stuff in the system for me. And the 8-year-old is the opposite. She's all into the cars. We ride down the road, and she's like, Daddy, that's a classic over there. I'm way over there behind the bushes. You can kind of see it. I think it's a Chevrolet. No, it's a Mustang. So, they're always at the shop. And my little one is, if she can, she cuts school every day to come to the shop every day. So, yeah, they're a part of this passion. It's in them, it's in their spirit, and they're certainly into all old and all things in between.
Well, yeah, and that's part of it is passing that passion, as you call it, on to the youth, because if you don't share your knowledge, it's lost.
Oh, that's right. And then my children get an opportunity to connect with me. Not to go too back in the story. My father died when I was 2.5. And the way I connected with him was through stories that my grandmother shared. And many of those stories were associated with a car. And so cars is a way that I intrinsically connect with my father and just remember my grandmother and remember my uncles and my cousins. And when I was a teenager, I had an opportunity to work with my cousin who had Porsches and exotics, and he would restore those. And so it's just in my blood. It's in my DNA. And it's part of the fabric of who we are. And so my children they got the bug is in their blood, whether they want it or not.
And that's one of the things I think is so great, because not only are you passing it to them, but you're teaching them and you're keeping them busy. I think it's a real important part that particularly the kids at Klein or whoever, they don't have time or they realize there's something else to do besides get in trouble.
Sabra, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. City Classic Cars. You can find them online, and we'll hope to check in with you again soon.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. Oh, you guys are always the best. Y'all take care.
Thank you.
Appreciate
you too.
it, man.
Time now for our car review of this hour here on the In Wheel Time Show. The 2021 Chrysler Pacifica. Available trim levels include the Touring L, the Hybrids, of which I'll get to in a minute, the Limited, and the Pinnacle. The reviewed trim level is the Pinnacle all-wheel drive, top of the line all the way.
Of course.
What size, what class? It's a minivan. It seats up to 7 passengers. Exterior features, well, this is an all-new front fascia with a bigger grille and the squinty headlights. They've brought it up to date.
I like it.
Extra large rear hatch, second and third row stow and go in the floor. Now, that does not include the hybrids.
Because that's where
because of the battery pack.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
All right. So what I liked about it, the rear fascia body-wide lighting on it. It really kind of brings it up to date. It kind of has that the old school Dodge look to it, where they took the lights and moved them all the way across the back. You know what I'm talking about? Interior highlights. It's got the new Uconnect 5 infotainment system.
Nice.
Yeah. With the 10-inch touchscreen available and theater streaming option,
Nice.
which my car had.
Theater streaming.
Theater streaming for the kids in the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can bring
So
it
it'll
up on the
connect.
front
It'll
screen.
connect to a streaming service.
But I want you to look at the upholstery in
Nice.
this thing. Do you see it?
That's
pretty.
gorgeous.
All quilted leather seats that even, can you see the back seats there? You
There's
see
a
the
pillow.
little pillow?
Yeah, I
It
see
comes
that.
with 2 pillows.
Oh, how cool.
Of course, that'd be the first thing that got stolen
My
out of
pillow.
there. It ain't my pillow. The screen is integrated into the dash in this vehicle, which I really like. So the screen doesn't sit on top of the dash or is not part of the dash.
Or
So you
doesn't
can see it.
elevate from the middle of the dash.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
looks contiguous.
Those are large vents, too.
Well-placed controls, beautiful quilted leather seats, detailed stitching throughout. This is a high-end vehicle. Cargo trunk room. Well, how much do you want? It's, of course, has the stow-and-go system in it as well. Cargo and passenger flexibility, tons of that. 3.6-liter V6, 287 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. It has a 9-speed automatic transmission in it. It can tow up to 3,600 pounds. That's a lot. This is a van, a minivan.
Nice.
City gets 19 miles per gallon in the city, 28 on the highway for a combined of 20. I got 23 miles per gallon over 151.8 miles. What I liked about it, plenty of power for a family of 4 with luggage. Of course, you got room in the back for the other kids.
The tag-along kids.
Tag-along kids from the next door neighbor.
I
yeah.
like it. I think that's a
Hybrid
I want one.
alternative is available for this, as I mentioned, and that is kind of a new thing, the hybrid. So it's something that you may want to.
Everybody's building a hybrid.
Yeah. And, of course, it's all leading up to all
Full
electric.
EV, yeah.
Ride and handling, smooth, controllable ride. I mean, this thing is really like a
I
limousine.
like it.
Pricing, base trim price is $53,390.
For the Pinnacle.
For the Pinnacle. Price is tested with a few options, $54,885.
That's
not bad at all.
Base model price, if you just want a Pacifica, it starts at $35,445.
Oh, no, get the pillow.
Get the pillow.
Get the pillow. Yeah.
That's it.
Get the pillow model.
Competitors, Honda Odyssey, $31,790 is where it starts. Toyota Sienna is $34,460, and the Dodge Caravan. Yes, they still make the Dodge Caravan. You can get into one of those. It's the old school, right? $27,530.
They've paid for all the tooling on that one a long time ago.
Yeah.
Exactly, and they still sell. Otherwise, if they didn't sell them, they wouldn't make
That
them.
was the
But they still
original.
make them.
That
yeah.
was the Iacocca original.
Yeah, the Caravan. So that's the review
Beautiful
of the
truck.
2021 Chrysler Pacifica.
I like it.
Time now for the cruise-in calendar, and we've got a cruise-in that we're going to be attending next Saturday, as a matter of fact.
Yep. Tailpipes and Tacos out at Kingsland and, right? Tailpipe and Tacos.
99.
Kingsland. You gave me that look. Out at 99 in Katy. Not the Katy Loopy Tortillas. The Loopy Tortillas at Kingsland. And
In Katy.
In Katy. So, and we'll be there. The show's going to be on 8 to 11, and believe me, people start showing up at 6:30 in the morning.
This show
to
must go on
to do it. And weather permitting, if it's raining and stuff, they'll reconsider what they're going to do. So kind of stay tuned to our Facebook page, and we'll keep you abreast of what's happening. This afternoon, Dreams on Wheels Fest in Pinehurst at 1 o'clock. 2 p.m. is the Huntsville Classic Car Show. Also, the Houston F-Body Community Meet is going to be today at 3 o'clock at Fountain Lake Drive in Stafford. 5 p.m. tonight is the Lion Dance and Cars in Katy.
Tell me about this one in Stafford again.
It's Houston F-Body Community, so it's Camaros and Firebirds.
Is it going to be at Otto's?
Otto's and off of Fountain Lake Drive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 5 p.m. tonight is the Lion Dance and Cars in Katy. Now, the Lion Dance, remember, this is Japanese New Year as well as this weekend, so they're going to have
I thought he said
dances out
line
Oh.
dance. I was thinking two-step.
there. And
no,
it's at the Faux Noodle House at 26440
Sure
FM 1093 in Katy, Texas. That
Okay.
actually, I think that
It sounds like, go get you a bowl of noodles and show your car. And
then, of course, the
chicken
Kima Car Meet tonight at 6 p.m. Tomorrow is Wheels and Heels Valentine's Day.
Hey, I'm in. Ray Ray's in.
Yeah, well, it's at 1215 Pinemont Drive in Houston. So
Let's go.
It should be a lot of fun. You can wear the red pumps because it goes with the heels.
Thank you so much.
Also, tomorrow at noon
They're kind of like
is
a
a
mid-heel.
Cars and Karting Valentine edition at the go-kart place. Alec
Oh,
Udell's
my God,
go-kart place
outdoors.
in Conroe. All of this is all somewhat weather permitting. And then the All-American Muscle Car Meet at the Kroger's on 99 east of I-45 up in Spring. And then Freddie's Steak Burger is going to be Eldridge and Katy on Sunday and Wednesday nights.
All weather permitting.
All weather.
Hey, the In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com, along with Twitch. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcasts, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon, and Podcast Addict. In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, February 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone's invited. You will see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt
I got
brings
him.
you Houston's
Trying to get an
hottest
audio
cruise-in.
check.
Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, February 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, February 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting.
I had your microphone on. I'm sorry. Well, welcome. This is the award-winning car talk show In Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeffrey Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us on this chilly weekend in the Houston, Texas area.
Be a good day for chili.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah, I want you.
Glad you didn't have it last night. We're
Yeah, thank you very
trapped
much.
In the studio,
Well, the
but-
heater's on.
So that would be the ones with beans.
Well, that's not Texas chili. There is no beans.
no.
There are
Well,
no
I have to
beans in
tell you
Texas
that
chili.
I bought. Well, and it was
Is it the
actually
Hormel?
outdated, but
We could buy it at the discount store.
because it sat in the pantry forever, and so I thought, oh, chili, I'll have me some Wolf brand chili. Woohoo! A hot, steaming, delicious bowl of Wolf brand chili.
served over a bag of corn chips.
No.
Do not
well,
use
that's,
past
that's what I-
1947.
That's what I should have had.
Oh, that's
but,
spam. They
but
still
I did
have
not
spam
have.
from World War II.
I did not have the corn chips, so I opened the can, and I looked at it with no beans, and I thought,
Looked like something you'd feed Sue's.
well, it looked like something that was sick.
Yeah. Okay.
So did you eat it anyhow?
I did.
Of course you did.
And it was like, yeah, no.
All right. So, Reggie, don't hold this against us whenever we
Did you have a thermal event after?
No, it wasn't like that, but it's like, I shouldn't
Let's
be.
get on to the
I shouldn't be
Reggie,
eating this.
Reggie is waiting on us.
Suck
Please.
Reggie.
Well,
Please.
Sorry, Reggie.
So is Reggie? Hi, Reggie. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's for the South, this is pretty freezing. So we're not doing the best down here, as you've seen in the news. But other than that, it's great.
So you are familiar with Wolf Brand chili?
Oh yeah, man. I'm a foodie. Wolf Brand and all the other miscellaneous exotic chilies. I've had them all.
Well,
Miscellaneous chilies.
I needed to restock the pantry, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to try something different. So I got the HEB brand with beans. So that'll be up next this week sometime.
Do you have any SpaghettiOs?
No, I don't. 'cause
George
I don't
says
like-
use Cheerios if you don't have chips.
Great. Thank you so much.
So today's a great day to have all those cars inside your facility there, isn't it? You don't want to be driving any of these out in the cold,
Yeah.
out in the ice.
No. Nothing's going out from the garage today. No. But they're good to look at sometimes.
So, Reggie, you're associated with or own, or I'm not exactly sure how all this comes together, but Formula Garage and Reggie Draper seem to be working together. Am I right?
Yeah, so that's typically how people see it. Nobody actually knows how it works because we make it extremely complicated for everybody.
Yeah.
But no, so Formula Garage is actually owned by a pal of mine. He's the owner investor. I own Draper Automotive, which is a consulting company, and I'm also his friend. So we kind of collaborated on the idea for Formula. Really, the idea was based around bringing the things like the Peterson museums, European museums, with all this really historic automobile flavor and artwork and things like that. Really try to bring something like that to the Houston area. That was his vision. So I just kind of worked with him and collaborated to help bring this alive, like the design of the place. We collaborated on which vehicles to purchase because everything in here means something. The paint colors means something. The type of cars means something. So I'm more of a partner in the garage.
Okay. Well, that sounds very. How many cars do you have?
I'm not sure right now. As of a couple of months ago, I think it was about 10. About 10, ranging from $100,000 to about $700,000 of value.
Whoa! Well, I could see looking over your shoulder, you guys are into the Porsches. The red one and the silver one with the black hood, at least.
And that beauty over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody loves a Viper.
Yeah, historically, we really came together as friends from a McLaren and Porsche standpoint. I've owned a few Porsches myself and a few other vehicles, but we came together around the Porsche world. But I've always been kind of, Porsche and JDM, American Muscle. I've kind of had all the flavors. So we try to mix it up. The Viper ACR is actually my favorite car here, along with the GT3 4.0. But I love that Viper, man. That thing right there is just classic.
Yeah, it's classic and scary is what that thing is with all that torque and power. Yeah, as a matter of fact, my buddy Craig Bierman bought one, and he currently has it. And he was telling me, my God, man, and this guy is a speed freak. I mean, he's had all of the high-performance cars, has a brand-new Corvette, et cetera, and he was reminded of the power and the torque in that thing. I don't know what year that one is, but when they first came out, they had no traction control.
They were cars you had to know how to drive.
Yeah, we don't need no stinking traction control. So, Reggie, do you guys have events there, or is it just a sales place? Tell me.
It is all of the above, I guess. So we do have events. It's actually more tailored towards events now. We've had multiple Porsche events, certain automotive shows here, like local shows. Some people just come out to rent it out privately. We've had people have like a major anniversary here because their husband loved cars, and we brought all the cars out, and they just partied and golfed over vehicles, and we started them up. Just cool things, bring something different to the table. But we also do, I do brokering out of here as well as we have a partner that rents out exotic vehicles in here as well. But in general, Formula Garage is built around the event stage and it being expanded to automotive storage, like high-end storage. So that's the next phase.
Where is Formula Garage?
Where?
Yeah.
It is Houston, Texas, near directly south of I-10 inside the Loop. It's right north of Washington Avenue.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's easy.
Right there near the Budweiser distributor.
Well, not quite. I would think that it would be closer to Memorial Park. It wouldn't I be right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not too far from Memorial Park. Obviously, we're east of that, but not too far at all.
So people who are interested in using the facility, or as you move into the high-end storage, how can people find you online?
So go to formulagarage.com. That's simple as that. The normal spelling for formula and normal spelling for garage.com. And you can go in there and see what the garage has, what we offer. And we can also, again, set up some things to rent out, whether it's a small event or a large event.
Well, I have to tell you that I did go online before we went on the air today, and I did take a sneak peek in there, and it looks almost like a surgical suite. I mean, that floor is just as spotless as it can be. Everything in there is in its place, and I thought, wow, look at this, man. This is my kind of place.
Yeah. It's funny because you'll find everything in here except for a mechanic's corner. That's why it's so clean. So we don't, as of right now, not too much work is done. So it's easy to keep everything exceptionally clean. But the expansion will see more to come. But no, thank you. Well, we try to keep it nice and tidy.
Well, it strikes me as being, like you mentioned, a venue for birthday parties. Actually, nothing to do with cars whatsoever. Any kind of an event that you could possibly think of, to have it in this unique location, that's what tricks people's minds into thinking, wow, this is really cool. Who would have thought about having a corporate meeting here?
Exactly. And it helps that we have some facilities upstairs to where you can spend the night or rent out over long term. So that helps the cause.
Wow. And as you expand into the storage part of it, you're in a great location for the storage, being not too far from the Heights, not being too far from the Galleria area, because there's a lot of people out there that have got some high-end cars that are looking for a safe, secure place to manage the cars for them as well.
Oh, without a doubt.
So I was looking at some of your pictures online. I'd hoped to share them here, but we're having a little technical deal this morning. But you've also got like a classroom-looking facility there. It looked like for meetings or something, I suppose?
So I think the classroom that you mentioned is probably the arcade. I'm assuming. If you see monitors,
yes.
Yeah. So if it's monitors, that is a simulation arcade. So we have about 6 racing simulators in there. Wow. Including one kind of high-end PC to do VR, 4K, and all this cool stuff that gets you sick every time you sit down. But we do simulation racing on the Xboxes.
So I want to know, when are we going to have the In Wheel Time show event over there?
I think we should have it as soon as our schedule allows. That means I am ready. I'm down. Let's do it.
How cool is that?
All right. Well, yeah, because, I'm thinking this would be a great evening event, probably on a Sunday evening, because if we had it on a Friday, the Saturday show would not be good.
Oh, like we worry too much about
we would have to have it from there on
From
Saturday,
there, that's right. Or we could have the show from there. That would be a nice a treat for us as well. Well, so are you selling any cars these days?
Well, there's potential. We have one Ferrari going up for sale, but because I'm not yet sure if we're going to sell it, I'm not going to name it. But there's potentially one going for sale. But outside of that, me in particular, I'm always doing buying, selling, and flipping. Different vehicles that are popular or just hard to get. I typically focus on what is the highest demand vehicle. So my specialty right now, ironically, is JDM. When I was a kid, I would just read magazines all day, all night, whether it's American, Japanese, German. So I absorbed all this information. So I kind of understand what the old, what the 25-year-old market is. So these days, I'm kind of looking at Japanese cars because the market is, I don't know if you've seen it, but it is the hottest market I've seen probably since the Porsche market 15 years ago.
Have you had any JDM events there?
Actually, one is coming up. There's one coming up, and I'm actually going to host one that I have coming in, R32 GTR. We're probably going to have it in March sometime, so it should be interesting, and we'll try not to neon light the city up. So
well, yeah, please let us know because I want to attend if it's possible. I've been trying to immerse myself into that whole thing. I know there's a TV show that I really do like out of L.A. That's a JDM type show, and so we'd really like to get immersed in it.
And that was my question.
The Lilienthals that we talked to, that's all JDM.
And that was my question for Reggie. When are you going to get your TV show? Everyone else has one.
I think that's a great question. Who is holding me back from this TV show? I've been trying to figure this out for the last 5 years. I really do. I think it'd be fun to have a TV. I've been poking some friends around some of the review places. I kind of poke some to see if I can get into BBC as if like I'm this awesome person or something. I'm like, hey, if you don't try, you never know.
That's right.
And it's interesting, you talk about the JDM, there's a lot of Japanese domestic market vehicles in Houston that we see come out to some of the meets and stuff. You know, the Skyline / GTR are the ones everybody knows of, but there's plenty of others on the Toyota side of things, as well as on the Honda side of things. I'm amazed at how many Japanese market cars are here in Houston that are out and about.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's a massive scene. And, you know, it really scaled for us, I would say, somewhere later 90s is when it really started scaling, later 90s, 2000s. But it really started in Japan in the early 90s. So we're now, because these cars are legal, they're flooding from Japan and Australia and China over to the U.S. So that's why prices are literally rocketing probably 100% over the last 18 months. It's ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this before.
Well, I would imagine that unlike Amazon, there is a shipping charge.
It's a little bit of shipping charge. That's the worst part of it. And the COVID-19 thing has not helped. It'll take you a good 5 months to get something if you buy it in Japan right now.
No
Plus,
doubt.
now with the 25-year-old rule, you're getting into that era of Japanese domestic cars that are even more desirable because you're now, what are we, in the 96 range of cars that are becoming available for importation. And those are really high on the desire line.
Reggie, what kind of car do you drive, or do you drive all different ones, whatever's in the shop?
The latter, everything's in the shop, but I also, right now, I have a BMW M3. I have an E46. I've had a few Porsches, but right now I'm like, man, I really want to kind of focus on just one simple, fun driver's car. When I was a child, the E46 M3 was one of my dream cars. So you know how you have those vehicles that it may not be the most expensive thing or the fastest thing, but you just love it to death.
Yes.
And that's the E46 M3 to me. So that's my current drive.
That was Don's dream car, was his Corvair that he had built and has since sold and moved on.
Oh, yeah.
Never to go back again.
Amy should take it to the Dakar.
It's gone. That's not. No, that is not.
So, are you guys also engaged in any of the big meets here in town? Are you guys putting on any of your own meets, or just your small shows there at the facility?
We have done some. I've done some, but we are typically involved with some of the meets. Coffee and Cars, I think, is getting ready to re-engage. The car culture. We're really engaged with Anthony over there with the car culture and some other meets. We're pretty engaged. Even the specific like PCA meets and some of the other McLaren things. So you'll see a lot coming from McLaren Club of Houston, which is actually I would say it was championed by Formula Garage. So that's going to be cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, do you ever do any cruise-ins? It's kind of a stupid question. I wouldn't imagine.
Well, with those kind of cars, you want to go cruising. That's what you want to take out for a spin.
So tailpipes and tacos next Saturday if the weather permits.
About to say the same thing.
We'd love to meet you. Come on out there. That's going to be over at Lupi Tortilla in Katy. Out
Kingsland
there.
and 99.
Yeah, Kingsland and 99, which is right off of I-10 and 99.
Come on out, Reggie. I'll find you out there.
Yeah, you had me at tacos. I was good at tacos.
And they also have Bloody Marys and margaritas. So, somewhere along the way we can connect, I'm sure.
Nice. No, I'm all down for that.
All right. Well, Reggie, it's great to talk to you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for bringing us inside the Formula One garage down there off of Washington Avenue, just south of I-10.
Kind of a great new idea for the Houston market.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So we look for you next weekend, and if we happen to miss you by some chance, we must connect.
Come on up and introduce yourself. We'll be
Thank you.
on the deck.
I'll try our best to get out there, and if nothing else, we're going to do some more in-wheel time at Formula Garage, and we'll definitely figure something out. So I appreciate the time, and thanks for allowing us to show a little bit about Formula Garage.
Thanks, Reggie. Formula One Garage and Draper Automotive.
Just Formula Garage.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just Formula.
Just Formula.
But that's okay. You added the one. So they're the
did.
top of the list, so
They're
they can
number
be
one,
number
yeah.
one.
I watched. I just have to tell you this. I watched. You can take him off, Jeff. I watched this week a very interesting documentary. Do you remember Willie T. Ribbs?
Yeah. He was a Trans Am racer back in, I'm going to say, 80s-ish.
Yeah.
He also did NASCAR.
He did some NASCAR. I think his call to fame was Trans Am racing, and he was racing. I can't remember if he was doing Mustangs or the Mercury Capri Mustang version.
Yeah.
And he was unbelievably successful.
He was also did a segment on that show out of Vegas with the guy that does all the
Counting cars.
counting cars. He did a
count,
segment on that,
whatever.
I believe, something like that.
Well, I have to tell you that this was the most engaging, I couldn't stop watching it, engaging documentary, and it's called Uppity.
Well, I'll have to go look for it.
Uppity. It was on Netflix, and I watched it this week, and it really struck a nerve with me. I don't know how or why. It's on some subliminal level. I don't know. But it was really, really good, and I would encourage everybody to watch it. You know, his trials and tribulations. He was black.
Yeah.
And the trials and tribulations that he went through, because his mindset was that he was not.
I'm a race car driver.
Bingo.
I am a race car driver, and I'm successful, and I'm effective, and the struggles he had getting funded to do that.
Yeah, and you're going, what? That you went through that? You've got to be kidding me.
Why?
Why
do you have to do? I mean, you shouldn't have to do some of these.
He was a damn good race car driver.
Yeah, and he did have a bit of an attitude, kind of unlike Dale Earnhardt had an attitude.
But he's a self-promoter, and that some people look at that as attitude, and other people look at it as this is what I have to do to get funded.
That's the successful
to do the
side
things
of it,
I do, because it takes hundreds of thousands
Absolutely
of dollars.
fascinating. You must watch it.
I have to watch it.
Uppity. You can't, I mean, how can you forget that name? All right. Time now for This Week in Auto History.
Okay, and Jeffrey's got a little quick video to run with this.
I absolutely do.
In 1900,
I remember that well.
we know you
Sure you did.
J.W. Packard received his first automotive patent after forming his company. So, you know, again, as this is the very first Packard that was produced. I
like it.
Yeah, in 1900, and look, it's a tiller steering. It has just a stick that you steer with, not a steering wheel. In 1909, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Corporation was incorporated by Carl Fisher as president, and the first couple of races at Indy.
Of Fisher Body?
Yep.
Nice.
And the first couple of races were just on dirt. It wasn't until later that they actually put the bricks in. So I thought, and you can see the pagoda there. In 1937, after a 44-day sit-down strike at the Fisher Body plant in Flint, Michigan, General Motors President Alfred P. Sloan signed the first union contract.
I thought you were going to say Alfred E. Newman.
I was thinking.
The first union contract in the history of the U.S. automobile industry. But one of the things about this strike is it turned into an out-and-out riot with police shooting at them destroying the building, and quite a number of people getting hurt.
Well,
so
if you look there, the militia mobilized, troops ready as auto strike. You can just read the whole article right there.
Right, yeah. So that was pretty amazing that from that kind of a riot.
Not too far unlike what happened on January the 6th.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but this was all about work. That this was trying to develop a union,
a little different
out there. So, and that's what they did. And then in 1938, Harvey Samuel Firestone, the founder of Firestone Tire Company, passed away at age 69. And I'm thinking,
what year?
1938.
Wow.
I didn't realize that the Firestone name that we know is actually his son. Yeah. But it's another Harvey Firestone. So you got to remember, Firestone tied his company to the Model T with Henry Ford at the inception.
They were pals.
Right. That was the only tire you could get on a Model T.
Was it the Firestone daughter married the Ford son? Or was it the other way around?
I think it was the other way around. And then in 1942, the federal government ordered and FDR ordered the Wartime Production Act, which all the auto manufacturers started building things for World War II. And I'm going to get a little further into that with some segments in the future about what Ford built, what GM built, what Chrysler built. It's relatively amazing how they turned the auto industry into war production. And
wasn't there a representative of Ford Motor Company that actually joined the service and then he went to the manufacturers to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
And it again happened for Vietnam when McNamara left General Motors and went to the federal government.
Wow, look at that logo.
That is the original logo of NASCAR in 1948.
Hey, are you taking my logo segments?
No, just this NASCAR logo. But how cool is that with the little wings on the back of the cars and stuff? I thought that was interesting considering stock cars. That was their first logo for NASCAR. And that was, what was that?
Red and white checkers.
63 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Careful.
No, actually, it was 73 years ago.
Careful.
In 1951, Marshall Teague drove the Hudson Hornet to his victory at the Beach Oval of the Daytona Grand National Race in Florida. In 1953, the Willys Overland Company bought
cool.
Jeep. The Jeep name, you're going too quick for
sorry,
me, Jeffrey.
Sorry,
bought the Jeep name
fingers a little cold.
to celebrate its golden anniversary. And then in 1958, the Ford Thunderbird produced its first 4-seat car. So that was the when Ford Thunderbird went to more luxury.
That was the end of the Thunderbird. The beginning
actually,
of
my
the
grandfather had one of those. I remember that car.
Still the beginning of the end.
Well, Thunderbird lasted through the 80s.
Yeah, I like that
there
car.
there was some pretty cool Thunderbirds in the 80s.
Okay.
One of our guitar players has a new one.
And then, Don's favorite is Ralph Nader testified before the Senate in 1966, complaining about cars endlessly and all the problems associated with cars. But his book of 1965, Unsafe at Any Speed, marked the end of the Chevy Corvair.
For all intents and purposes.
And then in 1985, Sir William Lyons, the founder of Jaguar, passed away. Jaguar at 84 in Warwickshire, England.
It's a pretty car.
I don't have pictures for this, but I thought this was interesting. In 1989, Ford Motor Company announced a net income of $5.3 billion, the world record for the automotive company. And then GM said, "Hold my beer." In 2008, in an attempt to cut costs, General Motors offered buyouts to all 74,000 of its hourly employees as General Motors announced, again, hold my beer, a net loss of $43 billion in 2007, which led to the collapse of General Motors and the loss of my job after 25 years with GM. But I am so much happier that I'm now.
Not bitter at all.
And so much happier that I'm now working for BG Products.
A couple of headlines to tell you about. After passing for years on the automotive EV rush, Toyota Motor North America now says it too will introduce 2 battery electric vehicles and another plug-in hybrid in 2021. The vehicles are expected to go on sale in the U.S. in 2022. One of the EVs will be the Toyota brand, and one will be a crossover SUV, and they'll be imported, at least initially, from Japan. Okay. There you go. No surprise there.
Well, the funny thing, not funny, but, it's odd because Toyota had been the #1 producer of vehicles worldwide for a number of years, and they were overtaken last year by Volkswagen was the #1 producer of vehicles, building 9.3 million vehicles in 2020, and Toyota overtook them in 2020, building 9.5 million vehicles.
Well, Tesla built its own so-called walled garden of car charging stations, now EVgo. Heard them before. Trying to lure some of Elon Musk's vehicles into the wild. The independent network of car plugs owned by LS Power said it will retrofit half of its 800 U.S. charging stations to accommodate Tesla vehicles, because you can't take a Tesla vehicle to an EVgo place.
Because the plugs are different.
Plugs are different, which come with a proprietary plug not seen on rival electric cars. It also plans to include Tesla ports at 200 stations to be built by year's end. The strategy should give EVgo a jolt of revenue as it waits for a parade of electric vehicles promised from the automakers. And I know that old spark plug up in Dallas, good for them.
Buzz.
Buzz.
So is somebody making an adapter? Just
I could plug. Yeah,
make
who
a
knows?
bazillion.
Don't know.
Yeah.
EVgo's swerve towards Tesla comes a few weeks after it announced a deal to go public via a special purpose acquisition company. So there's that.
Did you look on Facebook at the picture I posted of the Tesla superchargers? There's like 15 or 20 of them, and they're sitting in a parking lot somewhere, and it's flooded.
Underwater.
And the water's like 8 inches deep. It's like, yeah, let me plug that 440 in while I'm standing in deep water.
Honey, could you go plug this in for me?
That's exactly right. I'm telling you, everybody's saying, oh, EV, and they're going to sell a bunch of them, and then people are going to go, how long does it take me to get a charge? I'm kind of late for an appointment.
Call Will Ferrell.
That's exactly right. Mark my word, it's going to happen. Okay, time for a quick break now. You're on the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Stay with us.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, February 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone's invited. You will see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, February 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In-Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, February 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting.
From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning all things automotive car talk show, In-Wheel Time. Just ahead, a review of our pre-owned car of the week, the 2018 Lincoln Continental. Like that car. A look at some upcoming racing events you might be interested in, plus Conrad's Car Clinic and the stories making automotive news headlines this week. That and more just ahead on today's In-Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, Feb 13, 2021. Don't forget, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong, and Mr. Jeffrey Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us on this kind of gloomy Saturday, and it's supposed to get even uglier than it is now.
It's going to get gloomy. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah. Uglier. Anyway,
but all the body shop managers are thrilled to death,
rubbing their hands.
They're all going, "Hey, I'll fill that pickup truck up with water and go drive over a few bridges and fill those buckets."
Kind of help them out a little bit.
No ideas, please.
Well, there's Chat Rock. They put the Chat Rock or kitty litter all over.
There you go.
I got a bad story about it, but anyhow.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So joining us now as a spokesperson from the Ford Motor Company, Ford U.S. Manager of Used Cars, Mr. Andrew Ashman. Andrew, hey, good morning, and it's good to talk to you.
Good morning to you. How are you today?
Well, we're doing very well, thank you. So we wanted to talk to Andrew about the Ford Blue Advantage. I'm not going to try to explain this, but I am going to let you explain it.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for having us, and really excited to talk to you and your listeners. So Ford Blue Advantage is a project that we've been working on for the last 18 months. And it started with listening to customers and the challenges they face with buying a used car. And the couple of things that we really heard from our customers is, there's a big concern about the fear of the unknown. Customers don't know what happened to the vehicle before they buy it, and they're very concerned about what happens after the fact. And then the second piece that customers are worried about is around the actual purchase process, trying to find that used car and dealing with the negotiations and buying a used cars. So in partnership with our dealers, we tried to solve both of those with Ford Blue Advantage.
So this is kind of like a certified used program?
Yeah, so it starts with the basis of our old certified program where a customer could buy a vehicle that had a 172-point inspection, had a 7-year, 100-mile powertrain warranty, and a 12/12 comprehensive warranty. And what we've done is we've actually expanded our portfolio. Instead of just having one option of what we now call Gold Certified, which is an outstanding certified product, provides a lot of value, we've introduced Blue Certified, which allows a customer to buy a vehicle with a little less coverage because maybe that's what they're looking for. So it comes with a 139-point inspection, and basically the difference in the inspection is really cosmetic. So the mechanical elements are very much the same. So that peace of mind that a factory trained technician has looked at the vehicle from a mechanical standpoint is good, whether it's blue or gold. And then in addition to that, it comes with a 90-day, 4,000-mile comprehensive warranty. So it provides that customer the peace of mind immediately after sale that the vehicle, if anything goes wrong, that they can bring it back to the dealership. Now, both gold and blue also come with Ford Pass rewards points. In gold, you get 22,000 points. And what that does for you is actually covers your first 2 service visits. And in the case of blue, you get 11,000 Ford Pass rewards points, which covers 1 service visit, which helps reduce that cost of ownership that's really important to our customers.
Are there limitations on the vehicles that you sell? In other words, as far as year, model, and make, that sort of thing?
That's a great question. So on gold certified, it's Ford vehicles. They have to be less than 6 model years old and 80,000 miles. But actually, blue certified, a dealer can certify Ford and non-Ford vehicles up to 10 years and 120,000 miles. So it really extends what will be on the dealer lot that's actually certified.
What a game changer in the what I call the CPO world, because I'm always a fan of certified pre-owned, whatever manufacturer it is, but you're always restricted to whatever brand they sell. So with you guys offering a blue certified program and it being non-Ford products, you're the only one in the industry doing that.
Yeah, and listen to the customer. They said, when I get to a Ford dealer, and a lot of customers come to our dealers to buy a used car, they don't want to they may end up wanting to buy a non-Ford vehicle, and that's okay. We want to make sure we get that peace of mind, because it's really about bringing the customer into the Ford family. Mm-hmm. And if you're buying from a Ford dealer, whether you're buying a Ford or non-Ford, we want you to feel like you're part of the Ford family.
Well, especially because they're not always trading in a Ford at a Ford dealer. You're looking for the conquest sales on the new car side of things. So you're taking trade-ins from non-Ford products. So what you're doing is helping the Ford dealer move a little bit of used car inventory as well.
Well, that and it's the dealer itself. I live outside of Houston, so we're in the smaller community, and my daughter has the Ford dealer, Philpott Ford. That's where she likes to go. She likes the people. She likes the treatment. She likes the dealership. But when it comes time to buying cars for my granddaughter, to go off to school, well, they didn't have exactly what she wants, so she's got to go someplace else. So this kind of puts her back into the market of being able to go someplace she's comfortable with, someplace she likes, and, may not have it today, but they could have it tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So I think that's great.
I have a question on so you're at the dealership, whatever package, the blue or the gold, and you purchase a non-Ford product, do you take that vehicle back to that Ford dealership, or do you take it to that manufacturer's facility for repair, having that honored with the blue or the gold?
So we make it easy. You actually go back to your dealership, and if they feel they have the parts and the capability to fix the issue that you're having, they'll do that. Otherwise, they'll take care of getting it to the appropriate manufacturer dealership. They have relationships across, in your local area. They'll get it fixed, then bring it back to the store. And then again, kind of simplify things for you as a customer.
Gotcha.
So either way, it'll always get great service.
Well, and there again, it's how do you build the customer loyalty to the dealership? And if they're going to facilitate all that for them, then that's who they're going to continue to go back to. And at some point, the used car person is coming to market for a new car
the
as well.
The epitome of service after the sale.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously, all of these newfangled used car dealers like Vroom, Car Guru, Carvana, all of those, they've actually kind of struck a nerve, I think, with a lot of the new car dealerships, if you will, and that they're selling cars that typically you would have sold in the past. And I guess this is your answer to that.
Well, it's providing a customer a different option, because one of the things our research customers told us is many customers want to drive, maybe sit in, touch, feel, and even smell their used car before they sign on the dotted line. And, I use the term smell, and it always kind of gets a little chuckle because, but it came through in our research. People know what a new car smells like. You don't necessarily know what that used one smells like. So before they sign on the dotted line, they really want to touch, feel, and smell it. And that's what our Ford dealers can do for them, because, we have an all-new website that allows a customer to learn all about the vehicle, filter to find the vehicle they're really looking for. But then ultimately, before they sign on the dotted line and make the second biggest purchase they make, they can go in and drive it and make sure it really fits their lifestyle and their family.
Well, I have to tell you, that's one of the things that absolutely blows my mind. How are you going to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a used car, never seen it before, never opened the door on it, certainly have never driven it, and you have it delivered to your house, and here are the keys, tab at it. I don't understand that whole mindset. Maybe it's my age that I want to. If I'm going to,
you want to smell the car.
I want to smell the car. That's a perfect way of putting it.
Yeah, and that's what we provide, the flexibility, because there are some customers that are willing to do that. They know what kind of car they want. They feel really comfortable, so they just want to go online. So we've launched at FordBlueAdvantage.com the ability pretty much to do whatever you want to do. You can just do research, or you can really kind of go down the funnel to actually close to purchasing the vehicle and work with that dealer. And every vehicle on the platform, the dealer's offering local home delivery. And what we really think is cool about the platform is not only can you search by feature, if you want adaptive cruise control or a moonroof, you can search for that, but you can also search for the experiences that are important to you. So if you want a vehicle that has the dealer offers at-home test drive, or video walkarounds, or even a vehicle exchange program, you can actually search by those features. So not only are you searching by feature, but the experience that you want as a customer, all done from FordBlueAdvantage.com.
Now, is this available at every Ford dealership?
Right now, about half the dealers have signed up and are participating. We expect that to grow. So if you go to a dealer and they don't have Ford Blue Advantage, you certainly should ask about it, because every dealer can do it. And but right now it's starting to grow. We soft launch in January. We started to pick up some momentum, and some dealers really jumped into it. And what we found is customers love it. We have our number one Ford dealer who happens to be up in Indianapolis, Andy Moore Ford. He grew his sales by 64% in January. We have another dealer in Arizona who grew their sales by 50%. So what we're hearing is when customers see Ford Blue Advantage and they understand the benefits of between gold and blue certified, they love it, and they're actually buying more vehicles as a result.
So, Andrew, I would imagine that the Ford dealership that signs up for this has got to meet some sort of criteria, either in the quantity of cars that they're selling on the lot or the way they acquire them, because you say that it's not only just Ford vehicles. I mean, there's got to be some rules in place that they've got to sign up for. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So the first thing is they've got to make sure they have a factory-trained technician to make sure they can do the inspection properly. That's an important element of it. So there's the inspection piece of it, and then the experiences they're willing to offer. So if you're going to be on our platform, FordBlueAdvantage.com, they're required to offer at-home delivery. So those are the two big elements. And we don't really have restrictions in terms of how many vehicles they would certify. But what we find is those dealers, the most successful, they certify pretty much anything they can, whether it be gold or blue, because they know it just makes it easier for the customer in understanding the value they bring and their vehicles bring to the market.
Well, I'm certainly not a dealer, but I would like to think that if I've got a footprint on my lot that's only half full of used vehicles, I am now going to fill that lot up with every good used vehicle that I know is going to sell.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Plus, as you're wanting to get more used cars, you're going to make the deal to sell the new car to get that used car in your inventory as well. So that's where he's talking about how it's helping sell new because the dealers are wanting to have that used inventory. I posted your link on our Facebook page, Ford Blue Advantage, and kind of doing a little search. Really pretty cool, super simple search. Enter your zip code and how many miles you're willing to drive, and it'll bring up their used car inventories that are in the Blue Advantage program right now. Actually, very simple to look for, and then you can break it down by year, make, model, body style of what you're looking for. I like that a lot.
So like Mike was mentioning, his daughter frequents a dealership in a smaller market, and if they don't have this program, what do? Just contact their Ford representative and say, hey, I want to get on board?
Yeah, every dealer has the option. Most dealers do participate in some way, shape, or form. But if you just talk to them about it, I guarantee you they can get a technician certified, and then get your vehicle certified that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons we went to 10 years, 120,000 miles, quite honestly, is for that. Is we see customers holding onto their vehicles longer. And so, therefore, there are more older vehicles in the marketplace. So we want to make sure a customer who's buying that vehicle that's 7, 8, 9 years old, they feel comfortable in purchasing that vehicle.
And I would imagine that all of these come with a Carfax and all of the things that most people actually look for in a used car.
Yes, every vehicle has a Carfax. We actually, a vehicle can't be certified if it doesn't meet certain requirements. It can't have a salvage title or extensive damage. So we make sure first, any vehicle that's even starting point has a clean Carfax, and you get to see the Carfax as part of the process. They all come with roadside assistance. They all come with a 3-month trial of Sirius radio. So it's, there are a lot of benefits of buying a gold or blue certified vehicle above what you can get anywhere else.
Be interesting.
And the price is clearly noted on the website, so you can do a little comparative shopping. If you open up your distance you're willing to drive to do it, and seeing the same general vehicle at different Ford locations and do a little price comparison.
Be interested to see how many vehicles actually make that grade of being certified.
Not all of them. Be honest with you, not all of them.
Is it 60%? Is it 40%? What the percentage?
Well, it would kind of depend on if you're a good dealer, then you're going to pick one. I can tell that one's junk. I'm not even going to try it.
It's a wholesale unit.
The other thing is the dealer has to make a little bit of an investment to become part of the Blue Advantage certified program, because I'm reading this and every vehicle has a video walk around, which means somewhere on the property they have to have a studio or people dedicated to do a consistent walk around of each vehicle. And it looks like all of them are available for home test drives and local home delivery. How convenient it is, as the COVID market has, to a large degree, changed the automotive industry, that you guys are kind of out ahead of some of the other manufacturers in providing those kinds of services as Ford, as opposed to as the dealer, individual dealer, because individual dealers have made a lot of those adaptations already.
Absolutely. Our dealers have really, the COVID has changed. It's probably accelerated the online experience. Right. And more and more customers want to do more online, and that's what FordBlueAdvantage.com allows a customer to do more of that transaction online. But ultimately, like I said, some customers still want to come in and touch, feel, and smell the vehicle, and we allow the customer to do that, which we think is our advantage, and the reason why customers really want to come to Ford dealers to buy their next used vehicle.
And another thing at Ford, because I know you guys still do red carpet leasing, it's a great feed for quality used cars coming out of your red carpet leasing program going into Blue Advantage as well. So you really know the history.
No, you're absolutely right. Most of our the 3-year-old, 2 to 3-year-old vehicles, which is a great vehicle, those typically end up in our Ford dealers because they come back off of lease, and then we get them right back out to our dealers to make sure that they can offer that to our customers. So an off-lease vehicle is a tremendous value.
So, Andrew, does this also play over into the Continental brand?
To Lincoln?
Yes.
No, Lincoln has its own certified program. It's been a long-standing program. Luxury customers really appreciate that program. So this is for Ford dealers only, and it allows the Ford dealer to certify more of their inventory. Where we are with Lincoln, I think it's in the right spot. It has the right program to take care of those luxury customers who are looking for a Lincoln.
Matter of fact, we're going to do a used Lincoln review here coming up here in just a few minutes. So what do you look forward to in the next year as far as growth is concerned?
We think that a lot of dealers will grow their volume pretty significantly, but I think the other piece to it is we're going to continually enhance. So what you see on the website today, maybe 6 months, a year from now, you'll see even more. And we're going to continue to work with our customers to understand what they're looking for, and then continue to enhance the site from there. We've added Kelley Blue Book Price Advisor to the site. So you talked a little bit about concern about pricing. Well, you can look and see what Kelley Blue Book would say would be a good price or a great price.
Right.
So that way it gives you that peace of mind. And what I would tell customers, if a vehicle doesn't say good or great price and you like the vehicle, go talk to the dealer about it, because they might show you some things that maybe Kelley Blue Book doesn't pick up that this vehicle has, which is why it's a little bit more than Kelley Blue Book says should be. So it really provides the customer with a ton of information so they can make an informed decision to buy their next used vehicle at a Ford dealer.
Yeah, and that Kelley Blue Book great price indicators clear as soon as you turn the page on. You can see it. It jumps right out at you.
Yeah, I just think this is – I just love this because, like I said, my daughter bought a car, sent her child off to University of Texas. So the car she bought, it didn't make it through Houston first trip. Didn't make it through, had to have a new transmission. It was 45 days after she bought it, and so they ended up putting a new transmission. So that helps alleviate these concerns because, if you're going off, you got 4 kids and you're buying 4 vehicles, you're not going to necessarily buy 2-year-old vehicles. But now you can look at the 6 or 7-year-old vehicles and feel comfortable that it's been inspected. Yeah, and that there's something there of value, and you're not necessarily going to leave them stranded in the middle of Houston first time they drive it.
Absolutely. And that's, again, why we extended the program beyond just 6 years. We know customers are buying older vehicles for their family members, for themselves. And so we want to make sure that we're providing, that value so that customers feel really comfortable with the vehicle.
I think that's great.
So it's FordBlueAdvantage.com.
Absolutely.
FordBlueAdvantage.com. And like I said, I posted up on our Facebook page, so people want to click through on it. Super easy search argument in it.
Well, Andrew, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for explaining the program. It sounds pretty exciting, especially if you're a Ford dealer and a Ford customer. You got a relationship, as Mike was saying, with the Ford dealer down the street. You don't know anybody else. You trust them, and it just is a marriage made in heaven as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because now you can get a non-Ford product with a certified pre-owned warranty on it at a Ford dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you taking. Where are you located physically?
I am in Detroit, outside of Detroit, Michigan.
How's the weather in Detroit today?
It's a little cold. I don't think we're going to break 20 in the next few days. So you enjoy that warm weather down there. We look forward to it in a few months.
We've got a week of winter here. We're down in the 30s today, and that's hard on us down here.
Yeah, but you can come down, bring your bathing suit. We'll find a place for you.
Yeah, we'll be back up in the 60s by, I think it's Sunday or Monday.
Yeah. So anyway, Andrew, thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Yes, it's cool.
Best wishes to all of you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm going to share this.
Program. Cool program.
Can't wait to talk to the kids and tell them, look at what's out here that you can do now.
What's the name of that dealership that's over there?
Philpott Ford. It's a family-owned. Been there for years.
Philpott,
Right.
The family doesn't own it now, but Eddie was the last one, and I'm not sure why they sold out, but some
money.
Well, money.
Well, it's a small market. I know the dealership. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah. But they treat people really well there.
Good. Love it. All right. It's time now for our used car, pre-owned car of the week.
We're going to have to
We
make
need
a
more
switch.
Jeff.
We're going to make a switch here.
Jeffrey's y'all going to make a switch?
Michael.
Oh, okay.
Michael's got to control the
Michael
video.
is in control.
Jeff is our video manager.
There you go.
And Fang hands the controller off.
Fang.
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 No, Fang.
Fang. Soupy
Fang.
Sales.
Soupy Sales. You don't remember Fang?
I vaguely remember Soupy Sales.
All you saw of Fang was his claw and his arm come in the picture.
It was a bear, a gorilla, or something.
Whatever it was.
Polar bear.
Yeah.
All I remember is Soupy Sales one time saying, "Send me $1."
And he did.
And
that cost him his job because all the kids said, "Dad, can I have $1?" Soupy wants the. Oh, sure. Here you go.
No,
Soupy.
it was just go take it. Don't even ask
right.
your
Yeah,
parents.
That was the problem.
Go get
That's
$1
what the problem
ready.
was.
Yeah,
Just go
just
take
open Dad's wallet, take the $1, and send it to me.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good picture, Jeff.
Yeah.
We need more Jeff on the show.
We got Jeff.
He's got his.
It's chilly in here.
Scarf.
Yeah, I was up in the
Attic.
No, I went into the makeup room earlier and got my scarf.
So
Okay.
there's the mystery Jeff that
There
you
he
all
is.
have been waiting an hour and a half to see.
Oh,
There he
gosh.
is right now.
And
He's
they're
not
saving
wearing
the
any
best for
pants,
last.
but he's going to do the pre-owned car of the week. There you
I've
go.
got my scarf on. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
It's my Valentine's scarf.
Go for it.
Okay, 2018 Lincoln Continental. There are several options of this, several trim levels. The premium four-wheel drive, which we will be reviewing, you have the premium all-wheel drive, the select front-wheel drive, select all-wheel drive, the black label all-wheel drive, and, of course, the reserve front-wheel drive twin turbo. So make a note of that. This is a 5-passenger sedan. It's got a Euro look. Mike, you want to bring that up? There you go. It's got a European look, a slight grille updates from year to year, slight body panel upgrades and updates from year to year. You've got the deck lid spoiler, rear deck slope, and, of course, the color-coded bumpers as well. On the interior side of it, you've got the premium synthetic leather option.
Synthetic
leather option. You can also get the regular leather as well, but this is
But
premium.
you're going to pay more for
the synthetic. There you go. I don't know if they have it in Hollywood or not. I don't know if it's that kind of synthetic.
Okay.
So, driver passenger lumbar. You got power bucket seats. You've got satellite Apple radio, so you can listen to your in-wheel time while you're driving down the road. You can listen to your podcast as well.
Good looking interior.
Yeah, it is. It's a very nice vehicle, and of course, it's got all the smart devices as well. Now, the car rides like a Cadillac. I had to throw that out
or a
there.
Continental.
Or a Lincoln. Yeah, one of the two. With that in mind, you've got a 3.7-liter V6, 227 cubic inches if you want to go that route, 305 on the horsepower, 280 on foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM. It is a 6-speed automatic overdrive transmission with a 19-gallon tank, which is pretty good. It's a pretty solid travel distance. Mileage, you've got 17 on the city and 26 highway, which combined you can get about a 24. Ride and handling, like I said, it rides great. Smooth ride. It's a typical luxury vehicle, much like a Cadillac. I had to throw that in there again. You got your performance tires. You've got active suspension, aluminum wheels, multi-link front and rear traction control. You've got 4-wheel ABS discs. Vehicle price range is from $36,500 to $45,900. Used,
Okay.
pre-owned. Now, if this was a new vehicle, the base model would be in the $45,900 range. So it's just reverse downhill.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
Is there a reason that you hand Mike Mars the controller for the video?
I can't do two things at one time.
Well, I know, but he can't either because we're looking at the logo while you're
Well,
talking.
we're about to get to
I
that.
thought there was one
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
profile shot of the
He's
car
a little
in the file.
ahead of you.
That's the money shot, which the logo, Lincoln
No,
Motor
that's
Company.
not the mine. Never mind. I'm not going to go there.
The Lincoln Motor Company was founded in 1917 by engineer Henry M. Leland, which also founded and consequently left from Cadillac.
Cadillac.
There you go.
And actually came out of Oldsmobile.
He did. Well, we're not going to delve that far,
Sorry,
but
you
yeah,
can
that's
throw
okay.
your Cadillac. I want to throw my Oldsmobile.
There you go.
Hey, let me throw this in there. Just speaking of the logos, is that the Mercure logo up there, second from the right?
Second from the right.
No, that's Mark III.
Mark III. So they took the Mark III logo and used it as the current logo without the black background.
Pretty
It
much.
appears so, yeah.
And we're going to get into that. He formed Lincoln during World War I. They used to build Liberty aircraft engines and assemblies and so on and so on. Leland named Lincoln Company after his hero, Abraham Lincoln, who he voted for in 1860.
Seriously,
So
I
did
had
Don-
no
so
clue.
did Don.
Don voted for him as well. So it's 2 votes.
Abe.
And the name is appropriate choice, and the brand became, providing limousines for presidents and things. That's why he named it after Lincoln. However, predominant theory is based on coat of arms, so far as the emblem used in the brands in the 30s, which evolved into a red cross in the center of the shield. Now, regardless of the original Lincoln emblem, the iconic 4-point star has become synonymous with luxury, prestige, with the brand over the years.
Absolutely.
The end.
The end.
We always appreciate your logo reviews.
I know.
Yes, I like the Greyhound. You didn't even mention thing about their Greyhound.
I thought it was more of a Jag. It looked more of a Jag than a Greyhound.
It,
That's
it
what I
looks
would've
like
thought.
a Jag, but it actually was a
Greyhound, right. When I first started doing the research, I said, that looks like a Jaguar. So,
Huh.
And you got to remember, there was a period of time in the 90s that Ford owned Jaguar.
right. Now, something, trivia with regards to that, the James Bond movies, the Aston Martins, there was, four 007s? Mm-hmm. Daniel Craig is the only one of the Bonds that can actually go into an Aston Martin factory and pick one and drive it. Just any time of day, anytime. He's currently driving a sports model. But he's the only Bond that can go into Aston Martin and say, I want
Sign
to
me
drive
up.
that one.
I want to be him.
You want to be a Bond.
I want an Aston Martin. I don't care about
Yeah,
being
you
a
don't care
Bond.
about being a Bond.
Aston Martin is my
And
bucket list vehicle.
there are those that want to be Bond girls. So
Hey.
We'll change that for another logo story later.
Yeah, much later.
Well, that was fascinating.
the end.
I didn't know that about Leland. I didn't know that about the name of Lincoln being named after
I
Abraham
didn't realize
Lincoln.
that either. I knew his history of coming
Leland?
of coming out of Oldsmobile, founding Cadillac, leaving, and then moving on to start Lincoln.
There are more.
And then he started Lincoln before Ford purchased him, because Ford didn't purchase him until a few years after they founded Lincoln.
there are more details to the story, but time. Obviously, we just got to take the highlights. So There you
Close
go.
good. Very good. Thank you very much. Time now for the racing calendar. And I have to tell you that Jeffrey said, hey, man, you do realize that all of the speed weeks in Daytona are on every night on FS1.
Yep.
I've been watching till the cows came home.
I watched the truck race last night.
Oh, my God. The end of the truck race.
Oh, yeah. The twin 125s weren't nearly as exciting as the end of the truck
Actually,
race.
the second twin, it was past my bedtime, so I didn't see the
Yeah,
live.
because it was a rain delayed
Yeah.
by about 3 hours, but still not the excitement people expect. But tomorrow on normal Fox station is going to be the Daytona 500.
Well, the Xfinity's on this afternoon,
The
4 o'clock or
Xfinity's
something.
on.
Yeah.
Guess what?
So it's going
I'm
to be
watching it.
It's going to be exciting to watch.
Yep.
It's just fun to have the racing season back on. And then after the Daytona 500 this weekend, next weekend they're all staying in Daytona and they're going to do the road course in the Cup cars and the Xfinity cars. So that's something new. If you watch the Busch Clash Tuesday night, they actually did the Cup cars on the road course.
Somebody
for the
needs to
first
bring
time
back
ever.
the IROC series to
Yes,
NASCAR.
I agree. With
Well,
you.
there is a race of champions that's done internationally, but it's
No,
not
like
what
it
the
used to
IROC.
be.
They truly need to, because that would be so much fun. Maybe Cadillac will do that.
Maybe.
Put everybody in the new XT5 V Series Black Wings with the V8s.
I was
in them.
disappointed last week with the 24 Hours of Daytona since Cadillac did not win, but
They came in second. They had a good
second,
showing.
third, and fifth, I believe.
Right.
Okay, well, we need
And
to
then
move on.
Indy cars, they're not going to start back up until April. NHRA starts on the 28th of March at Atlanta. The Winter Nationals, which is typically the first race of the season, isn't until April 11th. Formula One starts on the 28th of March as well in Bahrain. So there's lots of racing coming up, but right now the racing that you're going to see the next couple of weeks is all going to be NASCAR.
That works
But
for
I'm
me.
okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am too. And let's not forget that locally, Houston Motorsports Park is getting ready. They're working on that. I've talked to Gina several times, and that's all in the works. And there's going to be some big news associated with that. She's expanding the program. It's going to be great.
So we're going to have her on to talk about that, right?
We will. All right. Time now for another quick break, and we'll be back right after this quick message.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, February 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone's invited. You will see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, February 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, February 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting.
Hello, everybody. This is the award-winning car talk show in Wheel Time, your weekly American go-to all things automotive place.
Boy, was that a shot to your next guest.
Along with Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong and Jeffrey Zekin, Don Armstrong here with you. So glad that you could join us today. We've got a fascinating guest coming up. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this all morning long, and we finally get to talk to a gentleman in the old country. His name is Simon Fixter, and he is with the EMBV 1985 Car Club. It is a pleasure to meet you and see you. But Simon, before we get going, I got to know, what time is it there?
It's about 4:30.
4 in the afternoon.
It's about 6 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we didn't get you up. It's not the middle of the night, and you're not too angry with us.
Not yet.
not at all.
We just started the interview. Give him time.
Yeah, that's right. So, Simon, where are you in England?
Where am I?
Yes.
I'm in a place called New York.
Oh, okay. New York, England?
New York, England, yeah.
I did not know that there was a New York.
And what are you close to?
Jersey.
Where are you close to?
We're close to Boston.
Boston. Oh my gosh! Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree,
They had to
doesn't
pick
it?
their names for the East Coast from somewhere.
Yeah,
so why not England?
exactly. So, Simon, what is the EMBV 1985 Car Club? Let's start with that.
Well, what it basically is a group that was set up online. It was started by a friend of mine, and it's basically for enthusiasts of British motor vehicles made before 1985. So it covers, all the models basically up to that point, basically 100 years of British motoring.
So we could talk about classic cars in a British kind of way.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So do they have to be made in Great Britain?
Yeah, that is solely British manufactured cars.
Okay.
So could you tell them what the name of the club actually is? Because I just gave them the initials.
Right. Well, the full title of it is The Enthusiasts of the British Motor Vehicle Built Before 1985.
Okay.
But it rolls off the tongue, really.
Yes.
Rolls off the tongue right onto the floor.
Yeah. Well, we love the fact that you've got that British sense of humor because we can relate, trust me. All right, so let's talk about some of the models. No, let's talk about the makes of cars because not everybody in the United States knows all the makes and models of your cars built before 1985. Run them down for me, if you will.
Well, I think you're familiar enough with things like Austin Healey's and Jaguars and, the
Yes.
sort of stuff that got exported, such as Triumphs, but we also have the greater British Leyland products, such as Austin's, Wolseley's, Riley's, then we've got Ford Europe. They obviously make a range of different models that you don't get in America. We've also got Vauxhall. They make a lot of stuff. They're part of General Motors. There's all sorts of. It covers all of the sort of smaller models as well. We do have the sort of more exotic things like Aston Martins, and Bristols and things like that. But it covers everything from the most humblest family car to the most exotic stuff of Rolls Royces and that sort of thing.
So are there, one of the vehicles from over there that we see a lot of is the cab. Are the cabs sold outside of just the taxi industry? Can people own those as a private vehicle as well?
Oh, yeah, you can certainly own those as a private vehicle. A friend of mine, he's a customer as well. He's got a 1953 London taxi.
Oh, how cool is that?
Which is an FX3. It's a really nice thing.
So, what do they still make that taxi?
They make a newer version of it. It progressed on through the FX4, which is the FX4. To be fair, is the shape that most people know of. Mm-hmm. But it then got superseded, and it went on to become a Fairway. And then and there were various other versions of it. And they now make one that looks very similar in frontal styling to the current Rolls-Royce.
Oh, wow. So in your club, what do you guys do to get together? Because I imagine it's pretty widespread across England, but England isn't that. It's not like Texas where you're driving 500 miles to get in. So how do you guys do your get-togethers?
We organise things online, and we will meet at various locations, motor museums generally, that there are around about. And we'll plan days out, and we'll meet up there. The club also do some tours over some of the picturesque drives that there are in Britain. And they go all over the country together.
How exciting! It sounds because I don't know. I've always wanted to go to the UK. I have not, and looking forward to going there. But we're curious. What kind of car do you have?
I've got quite a few cars. I've got stuff from 1930s through to 1990s. So, yeah, I've got about a dozen old cars of my own. So.
Do you all have them all indoors? You store them indoors?
Most of them are indoors, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
It would have to be my ex-police Mark 1 Escort estate that I own. It's affectionately known as Aggie.
Aggie?
Aggie, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I've had it about 20 years now. So
I see. Is that Aggie? Is that short for Agnes?
No, it's just Aggie because the number plate on it starts AG.
Okay.
Okay, very nice.
That's really where it came from.
Is it a sports car type?
When I bought it, it was a fairly standard car. Whether you're familiar with the Mark 1 Escort range that they did, it sort of grew to fame in the Fast and Furious films, to be fair. Paul Walker had one in Fast and Furious 6. And but before that, it was a well-known rally car in the UK. And it won sort of every rally for about 20 years. So quite a sort of sporting pedigree. But my Mark 1 Escort is modified. It's got a 1760 crossflow in it. It's got, various competition bits and pieces on it. It looks standard from the outside, but it's not.
But it's what we call over here, it's a sleeper.
It is a sleeper, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to tell you that, there are more and more British car shows that are headed our way that I am hooked on altogether. Wheeler Dealers, I don't even know if you get that over there or not, but a couple of guys that do a pretty good job of reviewing, at least recently, American-made cars. They relocated the crux of their show out in Los Angeles, but from what I understand, they're moving back back to the UK, and when they're there, clearly they do your cars, and I find them all very fascinating. They fix them up, they buy them cheap, and they sell them for a small profit, and I truly enjoy it. There are several other shows from there. And the Goblin Works Garage, I like that one. Do you guys get those as well over there?
Yeah, we get all of those here, yeah. Yeah, obviously we have Wheeler Dealers, there's Goblin Works Garage, there's Car SOS, and there's quite a lot of little niche shows here.
Now, how about you personally? Have you always been a car guy?
Always, yeah. Yeah, I owned my first car when I was 8.
8? When you were 8? What was it?
It was a 1933 Austin 7 saloon.
Oh, wow.
So I guess somebody bought that for you and said, here you go.
Well, my father was into vintage cars. We had a vintage car hire company. We used to do weddings when I was very small. My father's first car was a 1935 Triumph Gloria, his first old car. And we did weddings with that. And he just sort of bought more and more cars, added to his collection. And that's what he enjoyed up until he unfortunately passed away. So, yeah.
Boy, that 1933 Austin 7 Saloon is kind of a small little car. When you look at it online, we're so used to here in the States, everything's big and massive. Over there, just to fit on the streets, have got to be a much smaller footprint on the vehicle as well.
Yeah. I mean, I actually was last in the States a year ago, almost to the day. And it amazes me just how big your parking spaces are.
That's one thing to remember.
Yeah, I would have never guessed an answer like that at all.
No.
Yeah.
So you've also had some cars that have been in movies and things like that?
I have indeed, yeah. I do provide vehicles to the film industry through a company. And, I'm lucky enough to work on set, and I'm also driving a lot of my vehicles in shot as well.
So name a couple of your movies.
Probably the biggest movie that I've had anything in was the last Fast and Furious franchise film, the Hobbs and Shaw. I had a Lada 1200 in it, a little Russian car, whether you're familiar with those.
No, but I'll watch for it now.
Oh, you won't see much of it. You can literally just see a corner of the back bumper and the top of the trunk lid. That's about it.
But they paid you to do it, right?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, that works.
And Dwayne Johnson left his coffee cup inside it for me as well, so that was quite.
Oh yeah, there you go, souvenir.
Yeah, precisely.
Going to sell it on eBay.
So you've got a few other cars that you were telling me about.
I have. I can go through the list of the things that I've got if you want.
Well, maybe just a couple of them, because I got a couple of more questions I want to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a 1935 Triumph Gloria of my own. I've got a Morris commercial C-type truck. I've got a 1947 Rover 12 Sports Tourer as well, convertible. I've got a Morris 10, and I've got a Ford E83W Utilicon. I've got a Bondi Quip. I've got the Mark 1 Escort. I've got a Comma camper van.
And what is your daily driver?
My daily drive is a 1987 Volvo 240 Estate.
That's your newest car.
That's the square body wagon.
Yeah.
That's good old dependable. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the racing. You've been racing for what? Did you tell me 20 years?
I used to race. Yeah. I mean, I retired a couple of years ago from doing it full time, but I did banger race for 27 years.
Banger race, which we would call hoopties over here, or crash and burns or whatever.
Demolition derby.
Junk cars. Well, not junk cars, but they've seen their better days, and those are the fun ones that you really don't have to worry about scratch and dents.
Yeah. I mean, I because obviously I do classic cars for a living. Both restoring them and hiring them to the film companies. They were only ever cars that were no good for doing anything else with. They were only, beyond realistic restoration or parts cars for other cars I was restoring. So, yeah, there was nothing good was harmed, I can assure you.
Well, what kind of a track do you race these on?
I race those on short oval. They're 1/4 mile short ovals that we have here.
Are they asphalt or dirt?
Both.
Both, okay.
We have asphalt and we have shale. We have here, so yeah.
Right, yeah.
So like our demolition derbies, generally they're in kind of a confined space, and everybody kind of lines up and kind of
picks a target.
Yeah, picks a target.
But he's racing oval track.
Right. So this is a little bit different.
Yeah, this isn't demolition, but this is just driving what you guys call bangers, we'd call beaters.
Yeah. Well, they're also full contact, so you are actively smashing each other out of the way at speeds up to about 60 miles an hour.
Oh, how fun! Yeah, absolutely. We're into that. We'll sign up for that.
Demolition derby at speed.
At speed, that's exactly right. How much fun would that be?
Till you hit something hard.
Yeah.
Here we have things called jacking trains, and if a car's stationary at the end of the straight and it's somebody you don't like, you just drive flat out into the back of it.
We call that a highway out here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How much fun is that? Now, is it a series? You go to different tracks? How does that work?
Yeah, you can race both nationally right across the UK or internationally, because the sport's very popular in Holland as well. So a lot of people, go across the water and go and race in Holland, and Dutch drivers come over here and race as well. So it's really quite.
It's the international race of bangers.
Bangers, that's right.
So you transport your vehicle over on a ferry?
Yeah, that's how most of them take their cars over. Yeah,
take it on the channel.
No,
not the channel. They don't go to the channel. I wouldn't imagine.
I'm just joking.
So. I guess we're invited. I'm just inviting myself. So next time we're over in New York, the UK, that I'll be invited to stop by and see the shop.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, anytime you're over, come and check us out.
Do you ever make your way over to Texas?
I've never been to Texas yet. No, I've only been to the States twice, and that's to Florida. So.
Okay, well, you're going to...
Everything's bigger in Texas because the parking spaces are bigger here than they are in Florida.
There you go.
The bigger trucks. So what is the name of the business that you have?
What's the name of the business?
Yes, sir.
Fixter Automotive. That's what it is.
So the pictures you sent.
I'm only a one-man band.
Yeah. Okay. Because some of the pictures he sent that we were looking at are from the Bangor races, and that's what it says, Mr. Fix in big letters, and then so it was pretty cool.
Well,
yeah, I was known as Mr. Fix It throughout my.
I want to know how far you are from Buckingham Palace.
From Buckingham Palace, we are about 130 miles, I would say.
And he did it in miles for you.
Thank you.
He's
Thank
converted
it.
Thank you.
No, we are obviously in miles. We don't do kilometers here.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Well, Simon, it is a true honor and pleasure to talk to you over there, and we hope that we're going to get together again here on our show and exchange some thoughts and talk about racing and some more collector cars that you have.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we hope to talk to you again. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Simon Fixter. That
is so cool.
Yeah. Well, I think it's with the EMVB 1985 Car Club in New York, Lincolnshire, England.
Wow.
That's
Say that again.
Yeah.
No. We've got to go to break.
No, we don't. Okay. No, we're just going to mosey
motor
on. We're going to motor on. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic, because we are kind of wrapping up the day. So let's get on with the car clinic.
Well, what makes your change oil light come on besides the bulb in there?
No oil.
Yeah. Well,
is that strictly a miles thing?
No, it's a combination of things. Today's modern day vehicles have this oil life monitoring system that uses a bit of a complex algorithm to calculate the wear and tear on your oil. And
I always thought it was like a little eyeball down there in the.
There is no optical view of the oil in them. What it does is it looks at engine load, oil temperature, engine temperature, your average vehicle speed, ambient conditions, and throws all that into a computer calculation to tell you when it's time to change the oil.
So it's just an algorithm that just calculates
where you've been and how fast you went.
Correct. Yeah. And the same thing with any computer program, garbage in, garbage out. So, there's a few pros and cons to oil life monitoring system. We'll start with the pros. It does, to a large degree, maximize the oil change interval, where, the oil life monitor determines the frequency of the oil change for each individual's driving habits and makes adjustments to when the light comes on. So an aggressive driver is going to have the light come on a little bit more often. The granny driver is going to actually even have the light come on even more often than that, because the vehicle never gets up to road speed, never gets up to temperature long enough to burn out the water in the oil. So all of that's in the computer calculation, and the other thing is it remembers the oil change for you. Yeah, technology's great. You no longer have to remember the mileage, though the place you do oil change should be putting that sticker on your windshield.
I take that off.
Do you really?
It bothers the heck out of me.
I wouldn't. I'd leave it on, because one of the things about Oil Life Index is it's going to tell you when your oil's wore out based on those computer algorithms, or at least close to when the oil's wore out. So when that light comes on, go change your oil. Don't wait and say, I can wait another couple of thousand miles, because the computer's already thinking that your oil's done all it's going to do. And you got to remember, if you broke it down to three things, your oil cools, cleans, and lubricates. And when it stops doing those three things, that's when engine damage can occur. And that engine damage can be as simple as gums and sludge buildup inside the engine to more catastrophic failures and stuff.
You know what else you do during an oil change? Have your tires rotated.
Always have your tires rotated. And that's one of the problems with the oil life index, because some vehicles, that oil life index light might not come on until 8, 9, 10,000 miles. And if you're waiting for a 10,000 mile tire rotation, you've waited twice as long as you should. You should get your tires rotated about every 5, and that's one of the things the manufacturers have learned is these long oil change intervals they're doing is causing tire damage and tire cupping because customers are only bringing it in one time for the oil change and tire rotation at 8, 9, 10,000 miles, and they've already done a lot of cupping on the tires. So, when you turn all of these things together, that computer is making an assumption of when the oil should be changed. And, we know what happens with assumptions. One of the things that people don't know on their vehicle, if you go read your owner's manual, it says to check your oil level every time you fill up with gas. Remember when you drove in, it went ding ding like the opening of the show. You could trust your car with the man who wears the star. He'd come out and check your oil level for you. Well, that's not happening anymore, and vehicles do burn a certain amount of oil just normally.
BMWs.
And as they're burning oil, if you're not checking your level and you're going on an extended oil change, you can run low, and in some instances run so low you could cause catastrophic engine failure.
And the engine oil light won't come on.
And you're from New York. Don't they have in New Jersey, it's required that you have to have somebody pump your gas?
You're not allowed. In New Jersey and Oregon, there is no such thing as self-serve gas stations. And I'm not real sure if it's because the state wants to or because people from New Jersey just don't have the IQ to put their own gas in. And I'm a New Yorker, so I can say that. Yeah. So, again, but my words of wisdom, check your oil often. Make sure that the level is correct. I'm not a fan of oil life index lights personally, so I live on a 5,000-mile oil change interval because I know I'm changing the oil before it's wore out as opposed to the oil life index that's waiting for the oil to, based on the computer, wear out and then replace the oil. So,
but he hasn't had his truck for 60,000 miles.
It's all up to you. What you want to do, but just make sure your engine stays full of oil if you're not checking the oil often enough.
I just got my oil changed in the Corvette.
Mm-hmm. Carolina did it,
Yeah, she did. Mm-hmm. And I guess that she added MOA.
Motor oil additive, PG's MOA, and that gives you a lifetime
pulled the
protection
dipstick
plan.
out, and it looks kind of honeyish, honey colored.
Yeah, the MOA didn't do that. That's
she put
just
caramel
the oil.
in there.
That's just the oil that's in it.
Oh, okay.
A little caramel.
Yeah. No, but it's real interesting because I told my granddaughter, I have a new one that's driving. She just turned 16, and so she's driving. And I was explaining about the oil. Every time you put gas in it, and you get this look like, huh?
Well,
what?
Where's the check knob?
Well, it's not just the dipstick. It's how do I open the hood? A lot of customers
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
A lot of customers don't necessarily know how to open the hood. And you said BMW. Do you know new BMWs don't even have a dipstick?
Yeah, it's a sealed system.
It's a totally sealed system.
You have to take it to the dealer.
Well, you can go. You can read it on the key fob, or you can read it in the dash. And actually, they have a level indicator, an optical indicator of the level of oil, but it's not about the quality of oil. So, pay attention.
And don't you go changing it because you can avoid a lot of stuff.
Don't go change it to try to please me. A couple of news stories before we go, and I mentioned this earlier. Emerging news on Wednesday that Bruce Springsteen was arrested for DWI last fall threatens to derail Jeep's marketing push that makes use of the rock icon. Brand shot the commercial in late January, and it remained active on Jeep's YouTube channel until it was pulled Wednesday afternoon. It had garnered more than 37 million views. Jeep luring Springsteen for the ad was a big get, considering he has notoriously shunned starring in commercials of any kind.
20-something years or something.
Yeah, he's not a commercial guy.
Right. VW and Microsoft expanding their cooperation involving the U.S. software giant's cloud technology to include speeding up delivery of automated driving. So there is a connection that you never thought would ever happen. U.S. Appeals Court on Thursday declined to further delay the extradition to Japan of two men charged with helping former Nissan Motor Company chairman Carlos Ghosn flee the country. The order by the First U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Boston clears the way for U.S. Army Special Forces veteran Michael Taylor and his son Peter Taylor to be handed over to Japan after the U.S. State Department approved their extradition. Taylors were arrested in May at Japan's request. Prosecutors say the Taylors helped Ghosn flee Japan on December 29th, 2019, hidden in a box on board a private jet before reaching his childhood home, Lebanon, which has no extradition treaty with Japan.
You know, it's a successful show, and when we keep talking about Nissan and Gosen, you know it's successful.
Prosecutors said the elder Taylor, a private security specialist, and his son received $1.3 million for their services.
So you hear General Motors and Navistar, the Class 8 truck company, are joining together to test hydrogen fuel cell trucks with J.B. Hunt.
Okay, well, that ought to go over real well. I'm sure they'll sell $1 million worth of that. We'll be right back. Uh-oh, sorry, that's the wrong one.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, February 20th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone's invited. You will see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, February 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The N-Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, February 20th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching in Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In-Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@nwheeltime.com.
See, there you go. You got to see Jeff in person right there.
There you go.
Need more Jeff.
Well, that's it for this episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, please give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. The In-Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on nwheeltime.com. Podcasts are available on Pandora, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict, Pandora, and Amazon. Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In-Wheel Time Chief Engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Our video sales and marketing man is that man, Jeffrey Zekin, who you just saw. This week's In-Wheel Time Car Show is produced and directed by Mark Goodson, Bill Todman Production. For booking agent and podcast man Mike Out of This World Mars and his royalty, King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong saying so long for now, and we hope that you'll join us on the next live show at the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy. Next Saturday, 8 to 11 Central Time, right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network. Thanks for being part of the In-Wheel Time family. Mask up, stay healthy, and get that damn shot already. So long for now, everybody.